Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the new nominating contract and match pass players on eFootball. As always, there'll be timestamps in the description, so if you want to skip to a particular player or section, there'll be a load of timestamps in the description for you. As always, I'm going to start with the 3 stars. I'll run through all the 3 stars, and then I'll give you my recommendations out of the 3 stars, and then I'll do likewise for the 4 stars and the 5 stars, and I'll finish up with the match pass players. So let's jump in and take a look first at the 3 stars. They're all in this AFC Champions League pack. We'll start with the lowest rated, and that is Abdulrazzaq Qasim. So this guy plays for Al Shorta. He's from Iraq. He doesn't have a face scan. He's an orchestrator. He has 1 skill. Let's have a look at how terrible he is on eFootball Hub. So fully maxed out and boosted. Yeah, he's terrible. So I'm not going to spend too long looking at the 3 stars this time around. As we just saw, only 1 skill, they're 1-touch pass. I mean, can we make him even half decent? Not really. He's not great on the ball, his passing's not great. He's defensively he's pretty meh, not physically strong. Stamina's good, we'll give him his due, he's got some stamina, but yeah, this isn't a great card, even for a 3-star. I mean, if you support Al Shorta, if you're from Iraq, yeah, you'll have a reason to pick this card up. It'll be good news for you, but yeah, unless you plan to use this guy in the Iraqi League Challenge. Oh wait, we don't get one. Yeah, I think for 99.9% of the player base, this guy is absolutely useless. And next we have Safuwan Baharudin. I probably said that wrong. Again, no face scan. So this guy is from Singapore. He plays for Selangor FC. So I guess this is one you could use in the Singapore League Challenge, except we don't get one. Skill-wise, aerial superiority, captaincy, great. So not a lot of skills in this guy either. Let's see on eFootball Hub if he's actually any good. It could be worse for a 3-star centre-back. I mean, you've got a couple of 90-plus attributes there, but the tackling 85 is a bit iffy. Physical contact 80 is not great. Jumping's 90, but he's short. He's about 5'11". Not sure he's even 5'11", to be honest. He's around that 5'10", 5'11". Severely lacking skills. Could you shuffle the points around? I mean, you can't really afford to go lower on tackling. That's where most of his points are allocated. Maybe you could nick a bit of dexterity, get his aerial up a bit. But yeah, honestly, like I said with the first guy, I'm not going to waste time going on and on about these guys. Even for a 3-star, this guy's got weaknesses. He's severely lacking skills. Are you going to bother putting the skills on this guy? I mean, again, if you support the team he plays for, if you're from Singapore, maybe, I'm sure it'll be a fun card for you to pick up. But for 99.9% of the player base, again, this card is just useless. And now some exciting news for fans of Liman FC, because we've got your goalkeeper. We've got Chan Ho, the goalkeeper from Hong Kong. So no face scan again. He's only 6 foot, not the tallest. He's only got high punt for skills. Let's have a look on eFootball. Is this any good as a goalkeeper? Not really. I mean, for a 3-star, he's not too bad. But again, he's not the tallest at 183. He's about 6 foot tall. Reach isn't brilliant. Jumping's decent, but obviously jumping isn't important. We know it from Player of the Week. Can we shuffle the points around a bit? Yeah, see those 286s there. The next increase takes them up by 2, so I think it's worth trying to nudge those each up by 1. So now those 86s become 88s. 2 points left, stick them on distribution. Yeah, for a 3-star goalkeeper, he's alright. So if you've been looking for a 3-star goalkeeper, maybe for your Hong Kong squad, happy days, he's alright for what he is. But what he is a 3-star goalkeeper, and there's absolutely no relevance to the star ratings in this game because there are no matchmaking filters, there are no kind of events to use low-rated players. So a goalkeeper is just a goalkeeper. You forget the stars, which are wrong on eFootball Hub anyway. You just look at it for what it is. He's a small goalkeeper who's not particularly great. So again, if you're a fan of the team he plays for, if you're like a Hong Kong squad in the national team challenge, happy days. I'm happy for you because you'll be pleased to get this card. But for the other 99.9% of us, again, I'm afraid this is a useless card. And the last of our 3 stars, we have got Marc Klok, the orchestrator from Indonesia, and he does have a face scan. So we've had a couple of versions of this guy in previous Indonesia packs. He has a few skills, not got the most important ones though. He doesn't have 1-touch pass, 2 passing, doesn't have interception, so he's lacking skills, although he does have a few at least, which is more than can be said for the previous 3 stars we just looked at. Is he any good though? Let's have a look on eFootball Hub. He's not too bad. Obviously the passing is pretty good, but as an orchestrator, playing deep in the midfield, can he tackle? No. He's got no physical strength. His balance isn't great. there are some qualities there, but he lacks skills and it's not enough to be able to pass the ball. You've got to be able to defend if you're going to play that deep. Could you reallocate some points? You can go right down to 8 on passing. How high can you get his tackling? 78. Wow. That's about all you can do. Yeah. Again, I mean, is it worth trying to shuffle the points around any more than that? You can't really afford to take points from anywhere. He's not great on the ball. I wouldn't go lower than that on the passing. Tackling is not high enough for me, even as a centre mid. Over on the right there, there's nowhere here you can really spare any points. So you basically got a guy who you can either have him good at passing but lacking elsewhere, or you can have him okay at passing and kind of okay or a bit less than okay elsewhere. Again, it's a card that's just not that great. He's got a few skills. He's probably the pick out of all the 3 stars. I mean, I think he definitely is. But yeah, unless you're a fan of the team he plays for, Persib, does that say? I don't know. I don't know these teams. If you're from Indonesia, then you might have a reason to want this guy on your team, I'm sure. But if you're not one of those people, and if you're one of the other 99.9% of the player base, when are you going to use this guy? Same thing as I was just saying with the last player. I just don't see how anyone's going to get any kind of value out of this card. I just got to tell it like it is. It's another card that is just unfortunately useless. So here are my recommendations out of all the 3 stars. And now onto the 4 stars. So we'll start with Bailey Wright. This guy does, I believe, a face scan. Yep, I signed him in Master League a couple of times as a bargain centre-back. He's a destroyer. He can play right back as well as centre-back apparently, but I'm not hopeful that he's going to be any good there. Skill-wise, we got heading and aerial. Okay, he's good in the air and he can be captain. But apart from that, he's not got any of the important defensive skills for a centre-back. That's a big negative straight away. But let's jump over to the eFootball Hub. We'll see if he's actually any good. So maxed out, fully boosted. Interesting. So defensively, fantastic. Over on the right here, physical strength, good. Jumping's okay. He's not the tallest. He's 6 foot tall. He does have aerial. Jumping 86. He's going to be okay in the air, but you don't want a centre back to be okay in the air. What's that vertical reach? 270. Yeah, he's not great in the air. And he's slow. And he's not great on the ball. He's a destroyer. I think for most people, you're not looking for a destroyer to be great on the ball necessarily. You just want a destroyer to literally destroy and just protect your goal and get the ball away. But yeah, don't try anything too clever on the ball with this guy. But yeah, we do have some strengths. Credit where it's due. He's great at defending. It's a shame he's not got the defensive skills. If you're Australian, if you support the team this guy plays for now, I'm not sure where he's playing now. He was I think he was in the League One or the Championship just recently, but he's gone somewhere in Asia, I think. But yeah, if you're a fan of this guy for any reason, maybe you will put the skills on him and you plan to use him regularly, in which case he could be decent for you. He's got some strengths. Could be reallocate some points here. The pace is the issue, really. You could maybe just do that and get away with it, to be honest. And in fact, if you wanted to get his aerial up a bit, you could do that. If you accept he's not the quickest, take some acceleration away. Not what everyone would do, but you can get the jumping up to 91 at least. Yeah, if you want a centre back who's just gonna get in the way of things, and if you, like I say, if you're Australian, or if you, for whatever reason, he's played for one of the teams you support and you've got some emotional attachment to this guy, he could be usable. He could be usable down the middle. Absolutely fine. I mean, he's good defensively, physically and aerially. I mean, the heading's a bit iffy at 79. He's got the heading skill, but the heading's a bit on the low side. But certainly you got the physical, and you can get a bit of jumping if you sneak with the goalkeeper one there. It's just that pacer, and he's not great on the ball. But like I say, if you can work around the pace and the fact he's technically terrible, you just need skills, and he could actually be a usable centre back. Not a great one, but he could be usable. And as for right back, I'm not hopeful of this. We'll see what auto allocation says. Yeah, auto allocation says no. Defensively and physically strong. Everywhere else, absolutely not. So yeah, we'll just leave this guy on centre back. Like I say, auto allocation, defensively fantastic. You can easily nick a couple of points from there. You can sneak his jumping up with goalkeeper one as well. But the concern is he's very slow, and he's technically really not great on the ball. And of course, you will really need to put skills on him. Interception, man marking, blocker for a start, and a couple more beyond that. So yeah. If you are, like I say, if you're Australian, you've got any kind of emotional attachment to this guy for any reason, you could certainly get some use out of him. You definitely need to put some defensive skills on him. That's absolutely essential. But in terms of shuffling the points around, you could make him a very usable destroyer. But if you've not got that emotional attachment for the skills you'd have to put on him and for the weaknesses he's got, it probably wouldn't be worth it even for a 4-star contract, sadly. And next we have Sasalak Haiprakhon. I probably said that wrong. So we've got a fullback finisher at left back. He does not have a face scan. He plays for Buriram, one of the biggest teams in Thailand. I wouldn't be surprised if he does get a face scan at some point, but for now he doesn't. He's got a few positions, this guy. Unwavering form. And he's got a few skills, but they're mostly attacking. In fact, they're all attacking. So scissors, cut behind, dipping shot, pinpoint crossing, gamesmanship, and product-wise, it's really just pinpoint crossing. So he's obviously going to be a very attacking fullback. You can tell that from the play style. Let's just jump over to eFootball though. Let's see how good this guy can be. So maxed out, fully boosted as a left back. Wow, he has got pace. They always do this with auto allocation of fullbacks, and some people will like that. If your priority for fullback is just to be able to run really, really fast, then that might work for you, and he could be decent for you because he can run really, really fast. 96 speed, 95 stamina as well, and the acceleration's over 90. But we are lacking elsewhere. Defensively, he's weak. On the ball, he's not brilliant. Passing, the lofted pass is around about okay. Low pass a bit iffy though. So yeah, can we retrain him a bit? I think so. We've already seen he lacks defensive skills. So if you're going to use this guy as a fullback, you really need to put defensive skills on him. Start with interception. I would like man marking block as well as that. As a fullback finisher, that playing style, you're going to find the fullback drifts inside. He's not just going to get forward a lot. He's going to drift inside, get involved in the midfield. He's going to pop up quite high up the field. You might want to give him one touch pass and through passing as well. Depends how you're going to use him, but yeah, I think we definitely need to reallocate some points there. You can afford to take a bunch off lower body. Bearing in mind how many points we need also, I'm going to go down to 10. I'm going to leave the kicking power at 80 because his biggest strength really is his, apart from his pace, is his crossing. If you've got 80 lofted, leave his kicking power at 80. Then his crossing will be all right with the pinpoint crossing skill. So I've freed up 14 points. It's not a great deal. I'm going to put a couple on the ball, making a bit more comfortable on the ball. Defending really is important. I can only get 3 on defending. Get the engagement to 80. Great. I wonder if this is one of these runs where the physical contact's low already. I'll be tempted to say, well, you might as well just go down to 60 or 61 on there. Just take those points back. You get 1 more on defending, and then you got 2 left. A bit more passing, maybes. I'd be tempted to do that. This is a 4-star card. He's not brilliant, to be honest. I would probably do that. He's still got good pace and stamina as a fullback. The balance is decent. You are lacking physical contact. You're lacking a bit defensively, but he is a fullback finisher. So I think it's worth kind of shuffling the points around like that. And to be honest, if you're going to accept the fact he's not great defensively, you can actually just take a bunch of those points back from defending and just make him better on the ball. Just focus on what he's good at. Got 2 points left, aerial. If you're going to just focus on what he's good at, put it on shooting, give him a bit more curl on his crosses. Yeah, to be honest, I'd be tempted to just do that. Just accept he's not great at defending. He's going to be bombing forward all the time anyway. Just make him better on the ball going forward. So could be a usable one. He does need defensive skills, and his defensive attributes are low, and that playing style is not for everyone. Plus, with the game the way it is these days, physical contact is important. So there are weaknesses with this guy. He's not looking too brilliant as a fullback. But yeah, like I say, as a fullback finisher, he does have some strengths and you could get some use out of him, but he does have other positions. So on the right, let's just start on the right. As a right winger, inverted winger, he's not got the skills, he's not got the finishing. I'm not really sure. Let's just see what auto allocation says as a wide midfielder. So pace, yeah, and stamina. On the ball, not sure. Passing low is a bit iffy. Lofted, yeah, decent if you're going to cut back off the right wing and put like an in-swinging cross in, but the finish is not great. I think all things considered, I don't think many people are going to look at this guy as a right winger, to be honest. I don't think he'd be great. He'd be playing without an active playing style there. But yeah, I don't fancy that myself. Centre mid, again, he lacks skills. You need 1 touch pass and through passing, interception as well. Those would be the 3 skills I'd start with. But low pass, 82. That's with 12 on his passing. 82 low pass on a centre midfielder. Not for me. So I don't think I'll be looking at this guy as a centre midfielder either. And again, physical strength in the middle of the park is important. So centre mid's off the table as well. You could actually position train him for centre back because that's adjacent to his registered position. Can you make him a sneaky centre back? No, not really. Defensively, not good enough. Physically, too weak. So that leaves us 1 position, and that's left wing. So could we make this guy a left winger? Well, auto allocation first, and that puts loads of pace on him. Again, you don't need all those points on his pace. Can nick a couple. Again, I'm going to leave the kicking power at 80 to help his crossing. Can he make... Right, 86 lofted. That means if we can get that lofted up by 1 more, we'll get an increase of 2 on it. We can nick 1 off dexterity, you know. I would do that, I think. Yeah. I think I know what you're looking at there is not a particularly great left winger, but of all this guy's positions, you could make him a very attacking left back if you're going to make the most of the fullback finisher playing style. But as a left winger, the pace, the stamina, he's not brilliant on the ball, but he's not terrible either. But getting that lofted pass up to 88 as an old school left winger, if you're putting a lot of crosses in at the moment, 88 lofted pass with pinpoint crossing, I think as a left winger, I'm not going to say this is a great player. I'm not going to say it's a really good left winger, but I think you'd have to accept he's got some qualities. He's got the pace to get up and down and the stamina. He's going to have a pretty good cross on him. I think that's the best use of this guy. I think if you're going to get the most value out of this guy, it'll be as a left winger getting crossed into the box. So even like that, I don't think it's a great card, but for a 4-star contract, if you've got 4-star contracts knocking around, you need to use them up. And if you do play with wingers and you like putting a lot of crosses in, train this guy as a left winger, given that he's already got pinpoint crossing. I think that might be the best way to get value out of this guy. So I think for some people that could be a useful way to use this guy. So not a brilliant card. As a very attacking left back, if you make the most of his playing style, you could get some use out of him, but obviously some big weaknesses there. As a left winger, for me, probably the best value you get out of him. Pace, ability to cross the ball. Could be a half decent one for a 4-star contract, but I couldn't say a great deal more than that, unfortunately. And next we have a deep lying forward. We've got Cristo González, Spanish forward who's playing in Qatar. No face scan. Got a few skills: long range curler, long range shooting, acrobatic finishing, and through passing. He can play striker, SS, or he can play either side as a wide forward. Interesting. Let's have a look on eFootball Hub. Is this guy any good? Let's max him out and boost him out. So starting as a centre forward, that's his registered position. He's not brilliant. He could be worse though. He's got good pace. Awareness is good. Finishing a bit iffy for a centre forward. But he is a deep line forward, bear in mind. On the ball, not brilliant. As a deep line forward, dropping deep, getting involved in the build-up. He wants to be a bit better on the ball than that. Passing is borderline. I'd like that to be a bit better, but he does have through passing, which is an important skill for a deep line forward. Over here, a little bit of physical strength, decent balance. Yeah, this guy's not too bad. I think this is one where we're going to need to shuffle some points around somehow. The only place we can really spare them, I mean, you could take a few off his aerial strength. I don't think that's the most important thing, even though it does make a difference these days, but we've got other areas we need to make him better. He's a deep line forward. You could nick a bit off dexterity. I don't want to, because I don't want to dip down on the attacking awareness or balance, but we've got to find some points from somewhere. We've got to make him better on the ball. So you can get the dribbling up to 8 there. That makes him a lot more comfortable on the ball there. I'm a lot more comfortable looking at this guy now at 84s. We've got 5 points left. Let's boost his passing because that's important as well. We've got 1 left. Stick that back on aerial. Yeah, I think as a deep line forward, again, he's a 4-star card. He's not going to be brilliant, but I think he could be usable. Certainly as an SS. As a centre forward, maybe a bit iffy, but as an SS, the passing is decent. 82 low pass. He's got through passing. Finishing 83 from outside the box as a deep line forward. Playing SS especially, I think that's fine. I think it's okay. He's reasonable on the ball. He's not brilliant, but we've made him a bit more comfortable on the ball. Attacking rates at 85, I think that's passable. Borderline as a centre forward, but as an SS, I think that's fine. Still got that pace. He's got a little bit of kicking power about him. Still over 70 on physical contact, which could be worse. We've reduced that balance, but it's still in the mid-80s at least, and a bit of stamina on him. So, yeah, this guy could be worse. Deep line forward playing style, like I say, it's not for everyone. If you like that playing style, if it works for you, I think this guy could be usable. He's not brilliant, of course, but he could be usable. If you don't like the playing style, then this guy might not be your cup of tea at all. But with the skills he's got, long range drive, long range shooting, he can hit shots from outside the box. He's got through passing. That's important. I think overall, the profile he's got, especially if you shuffle the points around like I just did, as a deep line forward, I think the profile fits and he could be actually fairly usable. Not a great card, but a usable one. And if you don't like the deep line forward playing style, well, you do have another option. He's a right footer. He clearly can't cross to save his life, so I wouldn't put him on the right. But wide left without an active playing style, maybe. I'm not sure I'd do anything different with the way we've just allocated the points there, to be honest, because you need him to be better on the ball as a wide man, certainly. In fact, we'll just see what the auto allocation says as a wide man. Interesting. In fact, what I'll do there, I'll nick those 2 off pass and leave his low pass at 80, and he can get his finishing up to 80. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, he could be pretty usable, actually, as a wide man. That's interesting. Not bad at all. The pace, decent. On the ball, very decent. Low pass and finishing. Obviously, the lofted pass, don't be playing any crosses. He can't cross to save his life. But low pass at 80 with through passing. Finishing at 80. He's got long range curler. Good attacking awareness as a wide man. Yeah, wide left. This guy could be an option, you know. He's not bad. So, yeah, if you like a deep line forward, he could be usable. Not great, but certainly is an SS. I think if you like a deep line forward in that position, he could be one you could get some use out of. But also, if you don't like the playing style, or even if you do, if you like to look at this guy as a wide left forward without an active playing style, he's obviously not a brilliant card, but he's not bad in a few areas. You know, the pace on the ball, he's got a bit of end product, and he's got some decent skills for it. So yeah, again, looking at this guy, I don't think it's a great card, but it's a 4-star. And for a 4-star, either through the middle, if you can make the playing style work for you, or wide left without an active playing style, you could get some use out of this guy. And next we have Koya Yuruki, a cross specialist from Japan. He plays for Vissel Kobe. He does have a face scan. This guy's an interesting one when you look at his profile. Cross specialist, right-footed, can only play on the left. Straight away for me, that's annoying. If you're a cross specialist, for me, you want him to be a left foot on the left or right foot on the right. You can't position train him for the right because he's not got either right mid or right wing as a semi-proficient position, and neither of them are adjacent to his registered position, which is left wing forward. So this guy is going to be hugging the touchline on the left-hand side, but he's going to want to cut back and cross with his right foot. That's a bit annoying. He does have pinpoint crossing. He's a super sub as well. He's got first-time shot, chip shots, Marseille double touch. So yeah, he's got a few decent skills in there. But let's have a look on eFootball. How good is this guy? So max him out, boost him up. Again, he's all right, but even though he's reasonably two-footed, again, as a right footer, his main strength really is crossing, and he's got the cross specialist playing style. Is that going to work for you? Seeing his live update there as well. Yikes, he's not been getting much form. He does have reasonable pace. He's got pretty good kicking power. He's got fantastic balance. On the ball, he's decent. End product wise, I mean, low pass, 80's decent for a winger, but he's not got any passing skills. 84 lofted. He's got a bit of curl, but he's got some kicking power as well. So with pinpoint crossing, his crossing will be decent. But again, do you want to keep cutting back on the left wing onto his right foot, or are you going to keep trying to play crosses with his left foot and relying on his left foot being good enough? I don't know. It's going to be awkward. I'm not sure about this guy. If you're playing a guy on a wing where, you know, he's on his kind of opposite side, so a right foot on the left, I don't think the cross specialist playing style is what you want. He will occasionally come inside, especially if you're using the out wide playing style. Whatever side you're on, the wing on the opposite side will come in a bit. But like I say, cross specialist will stay out wide for the most part. I would prefer a roaming flank or prolific winger, something like that, on a kind of inverted winger. So it's a weird profile we've got in this guy, but certainly he can cross the ball. He's got some qualities. He's got a couple of other positions as well there. You can play him through the middle. He did actually have one previous card. It's the only 4-star in this particular pack that's had a previous special card. He had a Player of the Month card, J-League Player of the Month card, Creative Playmaker, Attacking Midfield, but that's one of the old ones. I think it was in the first year of eFootball, if I'm not mistaken, and it's not particularly great. This one is a better card in any position. So yeah, you can position train this card for attacking mid or for SS. Could you make him any good? I mean, I'm not sure the low pass is going to be particularly great, but let's try it. We'll see what auto allocation says for attacking mid. So he could be reasonable. Still decent on the ball there. You get the low pass up to 84. Finishing's not brilliant. He does have first time shot. Still got reasonable pace. It's not so important as an attacking mid. Kicking power again, and balance is still great in the 90s. So yeah, he could be reasonable, but you would need to give him one touch pass and through passing. Maybe his long range curler, maybe his long range shooting. I mean, on the left, certainly I'll give him long range curler. But yeah, as an attacking midfielder, one touch pass and through passing I think would be crucial. So yeah, you could train him to play through the middle as a number 10. The passing skills would be essential. He could be decent now. I'm not sure it'd be amazing. He'd be playing without an active playing style as well. But yeah, you could find some use for him that way. But yeah, ultimately this guy is just one where I just don't know how good he's going to work with the playing style he's got. If you wanted to position train him for the middle, skill train him to give him the passing skills he needs, is it worth all those position trainers and skill trainers on this guy? I mean, if you're a fan of Vissel Kobe, maybes. But if you're not, I don't know if it's worth all those trainers on this card, because it's not a bad card, but I don't think it's good enough to really use all those trainers on to kind of make him a number 10 there, because we all know it could take you about 50 position trainers or God knows how many skill trainers as well. And then if you look at him as a left winger, which is how he starts out as a cross specialist, I'm just not sure how that playing style is going to work out on a guy who's playing on the left hand side and right footed. Yes, he's got a good cross on him, at least a decent one, and he's got qualities. Certainly the balance is great, and he's pretty decent in a bunch of other areas, but to constantly be cutting in and putting in swinging crosses in, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure he's going to be getting into the right positions for you often enough. I think it could be a bit awkward. It's just a shame you can't play him on the right. So he's got qualities. It's definitely not a bad card. There's one or two ways you could use him, but on the whole, I'm not sure everything quite marries up together to make it a particularly great card, really, even for a 4-star contract. So that's all the 4 stars in that pack. Let's now move to the Turkish League pack. We've got a bunch of 4 stars in here. Let's start with the lowest rated. Let's start with Arsenii Batahov. So, no face scan. We've got a Destroyer centre back. These are pre-trained cards. We're not going to be looking at eFootball for these because we can see how good they are. And crikey, straight away, he's not great. 81 tackling, even on a 3-star, that would be terrible. This is a 4-star centre back. He's got 81 for tackling. Apart from that, defenses are kind of reasonable, but not brilliant. On the left, pretty average for a centre back, and then down the right here, the pace is okay. Jumping physical, kinda okay. Stamina's decent. What's he got skill-wise? So, I mean, from his GP card, they've basically added heading and aerial superiority, and they've given him interception. That's an important one, and fighting spirit. Everyone's getting fighting spirit these days, so he's got a decent selection of skills for a centre back. Heading and aerial. Then we've got man marking, interception, slide and tackle, acrobatic clearance, fighting spirit. Just blocker really is the only really important one I think that he's missing there. So most of the skills he needs. He's got a pretty good selection of skills on the whole. But attribute wise, he's kind of okay-ish for a bunch of these attributes, but tackling 81 really stands out to me. That's horrible. He's a lefty, just noticed that, left-footed. But yeah, on the whole, I don't know. I mean, from his GP card, just looking at his GP card, auto-allocated, it's the usual deal for a player of the month or player of the week centre-back. They've not done much in the middle. They've just really boosted the right and left columns the most. That's the biggest difference, really. So he has had a boost from his GP card in the usual areas, giving him some important skills. But yeah, honestly, he's not brilliant in any area, and that tackling stands out for me. 81, that's really not good enough. So if it went for the tackling, if that tackling was mid-80s, I'd say this guy could be okay. Maybe for the Turkish League Challenge if you're lucky enough to still get to take part in that. But yeah, if you're going to have such an important attribute so low, you need some other attributes to be really high to make up for it, and they're not. You know, if you ignored that for 1 minute, you've got a pretty average centre back. You'd be all right for a 3-star contract, but this is a 4-star. He's not a great one on the whole. He does have terrible tackling. Yes, he's got some good skills there. He might still be usable in that Turkish League Challenge, but he's just not that great on the whole, and that tackling attribute stands out more than anything as being really, really, really poor for me, to be honest. So yeah, he's had a decent boost from his GP card. He's got good skills. Some of his attributes are okay, but one of the most important ones is very low. And on the whole, even for a 4-star contract, I'm not sure this guy really is going to cut the mustard for anyone. Next we've got Ayhan. So we've had a few Ayhans. We've had 2, in fact. We've had one as in a Turkey pack. I've got that one, and one in a Turkish League pack. Both of those were centre backs though. It looks like they've changed him recently to a right back, and he's a defensive fullback now. So both the previous trainable ones, they're build-up centre backs, and they're better than this one as a centre back. But this one is a right back, and he's better as a right back than any previous version of him. He's had a pretty decent boost from his GP card as well, which is a right back now. Pretty much across the board, he's had a nice boost really. Biggest boost really on the physicals, physical contact jumping and so on. He's lost about 8 or 9 points of his kicking power from his GP card, which is strange. But I think we can live with that. Don't know why they've done that. But yeah, decent boost to the GP card. And if you want a right back version of Ayhan, it's the best version we've had. Not so much centre back though. Can play defensive mid as well. I think this is probably the best version we've had as a defensive mid. But are you going to play this guy as a defensive mid? Yeah, I'm not so sure. Horrible on the ball. But yeah, he's got his face going. He's had that years. That looks quite old now. Unwavering form. What have they done skill-wise with Ayhan? They've given him heading and aerial superiority. That's good. Blocker. That's also good. So as a centre-back, heading and aerial, and then man marking, interception, blocker, acrobatic clearance, fighting spirit. Defensively, all he's lacking really is sliding tackle. But the one concern, yes, he's got low lofted pass, but you could do with 1 or 2 more passing skills, getting him on the ball. As a defensive fullback, I don't think crossing is too important, but even in your own half, you need to be able to pass the ball. He's not got great passing attributes, 74 for low pass, so it's a shame he's lacking passing skills, but certainly defensively, if you like a defensive fullback to just literally stay back and defend, you're not bothered about how good they are technically. Defensively, he's reasonable. And physically, he's got a little bit of pace about him, decent stamina as well. I think, to be honest, as a defensive fullback, for a 4-star contract, this guy is not bad value. If you get the if you're allowed to take part in the Turkish League Challenge still, and if you like defensive fullbacks, I think this guy could be really good value for a 4-star contract. It could be a really good signing. If you're looking outside of the Turkish League Challenge for things like divisions and so on, I think it's a bit of a stretch. He's not that strong defensively or physically, but he's certainly not weak. He's just one of these cards where obviously it is a 4-star card. He's not particularly high rated. But again, if you don't mind the fact he's technically horrible, if you like a defensive fullback to literally just stay back and defend, he does have qualities there. He can do a job. Obviously, he's not on the level of a lot of the better cards that a lot of people have these days. This is a 4-star, but for a 4-star contract as a defensive fullback, even though he's got 1 or 2 slight limitations, I do think it could be good, decent value for a lot of people for a 4-star contract. And now we have Carlo Holse, Danish hole player. So this guy is normally a prolific winger. They changed him to a hole player and they've added attacking midfield. He's normally just a right winger, but they've made attacking midfield fully proficient. They've made him a hole player. So you can still play him as a right wing without an active playing style, but you can now play him as an attacking midfielder as well. His weak foot accuracy's gone up by 1. Unwavering form, good. There has been one trainable version of this guy. There's one previous version of him that was in a Turkish League pack. And it had, whether you train him as a right winger or if you position train him to play him as an attacking midway, you can play this one to compare him to this one. Either way, basically you've got a bit more pace and dribbling on that trainable one, whereas this version has more attacking awareness, more end product, and also more stamina. So yeah, pros and cons, but I think on the whole this is a better card for me. From his GP card, we've lost a bit of pace. Obviously they made him an attacking mid rather than a winger, so that kind of makes sense, even if it's a bit annoying. But we have gained, like I said, with comparing to the previous league version, it's the same story. We've gained attacking awareness, end product's been boosted as well nicely, and stamina, and his physicals are up a bit as well. So he's had a decent boost on the whole. He's a lefty, so he's either an inverted winger coming off the right wing, or he's an attacking mid. What have we got skill-wise with this guy? I'm just looking now on eFootball Hub, what have they added to him skill-wise? So, have they added dipping shot? And dipping shot is new. No, it's not new. I'm mistaken, it's not new. Outside curler is new. And fighting spirit, of course. Everyone's getting fighting spirit these days. So, okay, we've got some decent skills there, but sadly we've still got the skills of a right winger. Cutting inside with a long range curler, long range shooting, first time shot. Those are the skills you really want. And soul control as well is a nice one. But yeah, you got the skills you really want as an inverted wing coming off the right wing. As an attacking midfielder, you need one-touch pass and through passing. He doesn't have either of them, and his low pass is only 80. So sadly, he's just not got the passing for me to play as an attacking midfielder. So it's an annoying one. You know, the way they've shuffled the attributes around, giving him attacking midfielder, made him more of an attacking midfielder until you get to the skills and you realise he's just not got the passing to be able to do it. You could still play him there and just focus on his shooting. He's got decent finishing. The awareness is decent with the whole player playing style. He'll get into good positions. He's okay on the ball, but I just wonder, even if he's not got the dribbling and the pace that he normally does, is he still going to be better as a right winger? I think he might be. The pace is reasonable. On the ball, still pretty reasonable. The awareness and finishing. Passing is decent for a winger without one touch and through. If you're playing him out wide, it's not so important. But with 81 finishing, long range curler, long range shooting, first time shot. He's got outside curler, which is a handy one as well. Soul control as well, that's handy. Helps when he's setting up your long range curlers. Yeah, I think as a right winger, that might be where he's best. I don't think this is a brilliant card on the whole. And you might prefer the trainer one from the league pack, but like I say, this does have benefits over that one, more end product awareness and so on. So yeah, on the whole, it's not a great card. It's only a 4-star again. Before I forget, he does have a face scan. It looks like it's quite old now. So yeah, it's an alright card. This it's not a brilliant one, but I think primarily as a right winger, with the skills he's got, you could get some use out of him again if you still get the Turkish League Challenge. Certainly, if you like using wide forwards as a kind of inverted wingers, cutting inside onto a stronger foot, this guy is pretty well equipped for that. But outside of that Turkish League Challenge, I'm not sure how much value you get out of him. He could certainly do a job. He's got the ability to do a job for you, to get some goals for you coming off that right flank, even if he's not a brilliant one. So for some people, it could give you some use. You could get some value out of him. But again, it's not an amazing card. It's obviously very much a 4-star, but yeah, some people could get some use out of this guy. He's not too bad. And now we've got Thiam. So this is the second time I've had him in a player of the month apart from Turkey. He has a face scan. goal poacher, just like last time. That's his normal playing style. So the previous Player of the Month one we had in the Turkish League pack, I just noticed weaker foot's accuracy is up by 1 actually, so that's good. But yeah, his previous one, fairly similar overall. I think the overall was 1 lower on that one, but that one had more finishing than this one. But apart from that, this one's higher in a bunch of other areas. So on the whole, this one's slightly better than the previous one, apart from the finishing really. From his GP card, they've given him a pretty decent boost. He's got better pace than he normally does. And to be honest, he's had a boost in a whole bunch of areas really. It's a decent boost he's had, except for balance. So yet again, we get an attacking player with a trending card, Player of the Month, Player of the Week, and they take some points away from his balance. Very annoying. But apart from that, he has had a pretty good boost. Skill-wise, they've taken away a couple. We've lost acrobatic finishing. That's a shame. We've lost captaincy as well. But we've gained long-range curler, big addition. One-touch pass and through passing. Interesting. So his passing's been boosted a bit from his GP card. It's not great, but you're at least getting to 70 for low pass with your game plan boost. And one touch and through will help, so that's good. And we've got first line shot, we've got long range curler and long range shooting, we've got heading. So yeah, I think for a 4-star centre forward, he's not too bad. He's not brilliant on the ball. His balance has been nerfed a bit. It's a bit on the low side, but apart from that, I think for a 4-star contract, he's all right. He's not going to be dominant in the air, but at 6'1", he's got heading. That will help with his heading actually not being too high, but he's got a bit of a jump and a bit of physical strength about him. He's got a bit of pace as well, and he's got a little bit of pace and finishing. So he's kind of one of these cards where he's kind of got a bit of everything. And I think, again, if you've got that Turkish League challenge, if you still get to take part in that, he could be a useful striker. It could be a very useful one for that challenge. But outside of it, bit iffy. Certainly not a particularly bad card. It's not a terrible card, but he's one of those cards where if this was a Player of the Week card, if I did my free spin Player of the Week and got this guy, he'd be getting released because he's not getting anywhere near my team. So I think really for the Turkish League challenge, as a bit of an all-rounder, got a bit of everything, could be a decent one to pick up, but beyond that, not so sure. And certainly his other positions, wide right, not a chance. He's horrible on the ball. He can't cross it to save his life. Wide left, he's got long range curler, he's got a bit of pace, but he's not great on the ball. I think wide left is a bit of a stretch. So yeah, centre forward, if you get the Turkish League challenge, could be a pretty handy one. If you don't, it's a bit of a stretch. He's not a great card. He's not terrible. Decent all-rounder in terms of the profile, the skills he's got, but I just don't think he's quite at the level that anyone who doesn't get the Turkish League challenge anymore is really going to get much use out of him, sadly. And the last of our 4-stars, we have got Cher Ndour from Besiktas. Oh, actually, wait, he's not a Besiktas anymore. This guy actually plays for Fiorentina now, so this is a bit out of date, but to be fair, if he was one of the best players in the Turkish League last month, I guess it still makes sense to put him in this pack. I can allow that, I guess. So Cher Ndour, box-to-box, defensive midfielder. Normally, his only position that he's fully proficient in is centre mid, but they've added defensive mid. The box-to-box will be an active playing style in both those positions. He does not have a face scan, but he's a young player. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets one at some point. Standard form. And he's had a pretty big boost from his GP card. So the good news is he's had a big boost from his GP card. He's only a 2-star on his GP card, and I pretty much boosted him across the board pretty nicely here. The bad news is he's not brilliant. He's kind of an all-rounder. He's got a bit of everything, but not a great deal of anything really. They have boosted his skills quite a bit. So they've added most of these: heading, first-time shot, through passing, interception, fighting spirit, of course. That's flavour of the month as far as skills at Konami at the moment. Everyone's getting fighting spirit. Shame he's not got one-touch pass. He's quite a tall guy, 6'3", not great balance, not brilliant on the ball. One-touch pass would really have helped. Low pass is okay at 85. It's just about at the mark where it's going to start going up by 3, so you'll hit 88 if you get the maximum game plan boost. But yeah, on the ball, kind of okay-ish, but not brilliant. Passing, just about okay. Defensively, again, just about okay for a centre mid. For a defensive mid, nah, a bit weak. Down the right here, pace is alright. Pretty much everything's alright apart from balance. And skill-wise, got most of the important ones, just lacking one-touch pass. So yeah, there's quite a lot about this guy that's kind of okay, and he's just about hitting the mark, but nothing's great. There's nothing really that stands out about this guy. As an all-rounder for the Turkish League challenge, yeah, he could be a useful one, could do a job for you, but that's about as kind as I can be. There's nothing really particularly impressive about this guy, and the fact he's quite tall, not great on the ball, iffy balance, doesn't have one-touch pass. In the middle of the midfield, either defensive mid or centre mid, for me, he doesn't look that great. So yeah, if you get that Turkish League challenge still, might be worth having as an option in the midfield if you need more midfielders, but other than that, I don't like the look of this guy, to be honest. It doesn't look too great to me. So these are my recommendations out of all the 4 stars. I was a little bit unsure about some of these guys. I think Ayhan's probably the surest bet of all of these. I think if a defensive fullback suits you, a real out-and-out defensive fullback, I think it could be a solid option for a 4-star contract. The rest of them, for some people, could be value. I think it's going to be hit and miss. I think this guy, not so much as a left back. I think defensively he's too lacking. But going forward, if you train him as a left midfielder, you're like an old school winger putting crosses. I think you could make him fairly effective as a left midfielder. So he just about makes it into my recommendations as a left winger. And then Holse, not sure about attacking me, but as a right winger, cutting onto his left foot, he's got a shot on him. He could give you some use. He could do a job for you that way. This guy, Cristo González, I think as a deep line forward, especially as an SS, all playing wide left without an active playing style, depending how you train him, with the skills he's got, I think he could be a useful one. And then Mame Thiam just about sneaks in here. I don't think he's great on the whole, but he's a bit of an all-rounder. He's got a bit of everything. I think certainly in the Turkish League Challenge, he could be a useful one to have. Outside of that, if you really need striker options, I think he could do a job. He's not a great card. None of these are great cards. They're very much 4-stars, but I think for some people, each of these 5 cards could do a job for you. And I think these 5 for me are probably my pick out of all the 4-stars that are available this time. So now we move on to the 5-stars. And we got a couple in the Asian Champions League pack. So let's start with Kalidou Wait.
Who the f is that guy?
Well, it is Koulibaly. Not sure about that picture though. So Koulibaly, destroyer centre-back, standard form. I have a feeling he used to be unwavering. Might be wrong on that, but he's standard form now and he doesn't get live update. That's something to consider. Skill-wise, pretty much the complete selection of skills for a centre-back, except for acrobatic clearance. That's the one he's lacking, so you might want to give him acrobatic clearance. Maybe 1-2 passing skills as well. But let's jump over to eFootball Hub. Let's see how good this version of Koulibaly is. So, all maxed out and boosted. Pretty solid looking. The jumping's not amazing. That's the one thing that stands out. We've had a couple of versions of Koulibaly. Well, we've had a bunch of versions of Koulibaly in the game. The best ones... there was a Showtime one not too long ago, since he's been in Saudi. That was when he was at Al Hilal, and that's probably the best version. And there's a Chelsea version, a highlight card, that was better than this one as well. So those two, I think, are the best 2 versions of Koulibaly. The other ones are when he was at Napoli, and those trainables, to be honest, are pretty similar to this one overall, really. So it is a pretty good version. Not the best, of course, but it's a pretty good version of Koulibaly. He's had a pretty reasonable boost from his GB card. He actually boosted the most. Looks like his pace, his jumping actually, and his balance have had the biggest boost from his GP card. Still not brilliant jumping though, so can we spare a few points when they're jumping up? Pretty much what you'd expect from the point allocation on a centre back, but as you see with defending there, remember it's in groups of 4, so up to 12, the last 4 go up by 3 points. That one increase from 12 to 13 is 4 points. If we take 1 away from defending, just 1, that gives us 4 points, and we're still 90 plus in all the defensives. If you put all those 4 into goalkeeper 1, bosh, 90 jumping. So his jumping height is 275, so that's solid. I would just do that. I don't think I'd do much more. I mean, I'd like that kicking power to hit the 70 mark. Is it worth maybe nicking a couple off dexterity to get lower body up by 1? Maybe, maybe not. I think it looks a bit nicer, not a massive difference. But really, you just got a solid centre back. Koulibaly is a big physical guy. I mean, he's not massive actually. He seems like he's bigger than that, but just over 6'1", almost 6'2". He's got a decent pace for a centre back. They have boosted that a bit from his GP card, like I say. Decent stamina, physically and aerially. Obviously, we've got that jumping up to the 90 mark, and then defensively 90 plus in all of those. He's a strong defender. Pretty good centre back guard. Obviously, he's not great down the left. You wouldn't expect him to be too great, but you will have to be careful with this guy when you get him on the ball. Not great technically, not great balance either. But it's kind of what you'd expect from Koulibaly. He's a destroyer. He's a physical guy. He can defend. He's got a bit of pace about him. He's got almost a complete set of skills as a centre back. Just needs acrobatic clearance. You might want to put a few passing skills in, like I say, 1-touch pass maybe. You could even give him maybe his outside curl, a weighted pass, through passing. I would consider that. I like to put a few passing skills in my centre backs. But yeah, honestly, we've had a couple of better versions of Koulibaly, but outside of those two, the Showtime and the Chelsea one, this is a pretty good version of him. And if you tweak the way the points are allocated, you can make that jumping a bit higher, which it probably needs to be. And on the whole, it's a solid centre-back card, this. And if you're a fan of Koulibaly, we don't get many chances to get a good Koulibaly card these days. So yeah, I think for a lot of people, it could be a very solid card to pick up this. And our other 5-star from this Asian Champions League pack is Riyad Mahrez. And that is Riyad Mahrez in this picture, unlike Koulibaly. He's got his face scan, of course. So Riyad Mahrez, prolific winger. Unwavering form, good, because he's not getting live update over in Saudi. Skill-wise, pretty much what we expect from Mahrez. We've got long-range curler. The most important one is a right winger cutting onto his left foot. Of course, he's got that already, long-range curler. He's got pinpoint crossing as well. Outside curler is a nice one. Could do some passing skills maybe, but let's jump over to eFootball Hub, see how good this Mahrez card is. So all maxed out and boosted up. He's pretty tidy. They've given him a fair boost on his speed from his GP card. There was a Showtime version of Mahrez. That's obviously the best version that we've had of Mahrez. Outside of that, there was a Man City one. And that one is not quite as high rated as this one. That's mainly the speed though, because this one's had his speed boosted a bit. So this is a pretty good looking version of Mahrez. He's had like I say, he's had a decent boost from his GP card with his speed, but also his physical contact's had a nice boost. And on the whole, it's a decent boost. On the ball, he's a bit worse than his GP card, but that is because they've allocated 3 less points. If you get his GP card and auto allocate it, it allocates 3 more on his on the ball attributes. So that's why he's not actually worse. It just depends how you train him. So yeah, just something to keep in mind there. And like I say, yeah, it's a good version of Mahrez. This looking around at the attributes, I mean, you see speed there, they're boosted a bit, but 86, just increasing that just by 1 will get it +2. I think we can spare a few from dribbling. Let's see if we can do that. Let's take 3 off dribbling there. We've got 1 on defending. I'll take that back. Yoink. So lower body +1. And to be honest, then the kicking power is at 86. Do we want a bit more kicking power? Why not? Let's put 2 extra on lower body. They've got 2 points left. Where are they going? Put it back on dribbling. Why not? So decent pace. Not amazing. Obviously, he's 33 now. So he's not going to be as quick as he used to be, but still decent pace. We've got the kicking power to a decent level as well. Good balance at 90. Stamina's okay. On the ball, obviously, very nice. Attacking awareness is pretty decent. Finishing likewise. Passing, low pass isn't great. 1 touch pass and through passing, I would look to put on him, definitely. He's got outside curler. And yeah, lofted pass 83. He's got pinpoint crossing. So if you cut inside, he can put a cross in. Yeah, on the whole, I think it's a decent looking version of Mahrez. It's a reasonably tidy card, this. I think quite a few people, if they've found this card, if you like this kind of inverted winger, could be a tidy one to pick up. In terms of other positions, you could play him up front if you wanted to. Let's see what Wataru allocation says. I'm not hopeful. You could get away with that. It's not too bad. I mean, let's just take points away from where we don't need them. Got attacking awareness to 88, shooting to 85. It's not a bad option if you really want to make Mahrez a centre forward. You could get away with that. As a number 10, let's put auto allocate as an attacking midfielder. You would really need 1 touch pass and through passing. Can we make him a decent number 10? Can we get that passing up to 12? What do we think? Probably not. Don't really want to lose points in too many places. I mean, hang on. Coming through up 3 points. Only 4 points to do it. You can get his low pass at 88. I mean, it's a bit of a stretch. Still nice in the ball. You can make his passing good. You'd need 1 touch and through passing. Good attacking awareness. He'd be playing without an active playing style, attacking mid or SS. Not as quick, and he's certainly lost a bit of kicking power, so I'm not sure I'd do that. But if you really wanted Mahrez as an attacking mid or an SS behind the attack, you could do that if you gave him the right skills. But the other way, you could use him in the left wing. He's got pinpoint crossing, remember. So if we go back to, let's just go back to the auto allocation as a right winger. And we just want to see if we can bump up that lofted pass a bit. So take a few off dribbling. And that 1 from defending, of course. Thank you. Yeah, you could make him a fairly tidy left wing as well if you wanted to do that. So if you position train this guy for left wing, we've not given him the boost to speed that we originally did, but that's because we need to get the points on lofted pass. But 88 lofted pass, 84 curl, 85 kicking power. He's got pinpoint crossing there. You could make him a pretty tidy left wing if that's what you wanted to do. So there's an option for you. Good on the ball, bit of pace about him. Certainly got a nice cross on him. He's still got good attacking awareness and finishing as well. Yeah, that's an option. So as a left winger, could be pretty tidy. Through the middle as a number 10 or a striker. If you'd want to do that, I'm not sure if many people would want to do that, but you could maybe do that. But certainly right wing, the way he's intended to be, we'll leave him on auto allocation there. And like I say, in fact, I won't leave him auto allocation. I'll leave him the way I boosted his speed a bit, just like that. Yeah, I think it's worth doing that. Still good on the ball, but getting a bit more speed, a bit more kicking power on him. I think it's a pretty tidy option. It's a good version of Mahrez, not the best, but it is a good version of him. And for those who are a fan of him, even though he doesn't get live update these days, he's got unwavering form. And even maybe if it's just for the nostalgia, I think it's a tidy card this for quite a lot of people. It's a pretty decent one. So that's the 2 5-stars in there, and we actually have 1 5-star in the Turkish League pack, and that is Söyüncü. So Söyüncü, of course, has his face scan. He's a destroyer. He's got inconsistent form. That's a bit of a shame. But if he gets A or B form, then it doesn't really matter so much. Very two-footed. I don't think he's always been that two-footed. I think they changed that at some point. That's good. On any player, that's good to be so two-footed. You certainly don't want to get caught out in possession in defence and playing poor passes and stuff. So two-footed is always helpful. He's normally a build-up, actually. They changed his playing style to destroyer. There was a player of the week version of Söyüncü. Wasn't as quick as this one. Didn't have the stamina either. They've obviously been boosting pace and stamina on all the kind of player of the week and player of the month centre-backs lately. And we've got more balance on this one as well, but that player of the week one had a bit more physical contact. They both had blocker added as a skill, which is good. It's an important skill. I've had a couple of trainable versions of Söyüncü as well. There's one in the Turkey pack, which I've got. That was the original Turkey pack, and it's still a solid card, actually. And I'm still pretty pleased with that one. That's a build-up. I prefer the playing style. I would say this one, in terms of the attributes, is slightly better, the overall ability, than that old Turkey pack one. But for the play style, the fact that I'm happy with the one I've got, I'm probably going to keep that one. And there's one Leicester one as well, but that wasn't quite as good as this one. And neither of those trainables had the blocker skill, albeit you could put it on if you wanted to. But yeah, this is looking like probably the best version of Söyüncü, I think. And it's a pretty solid looking card. The defenses are strong. You get your maximum game plan boost 90 plus on all your defensives. Physical contact, again, is one of these cards where you got a key attribute. It's just one shy of the mark to be able to hit 90 with your game plan boost. That's frustrating. I'm sure they do it on purpose, but still, he's not weak. It's decent physical contact. Jumping, decent. Both of these roundabout okay-ish, but I think most of us would like them to be a bit higher, but they're not disastrously low. Pace is decent. He's not got great acceleration, but speed's good at 84, and stamina, as I mentioned. Low enough to pass both 70 before your game plan boost. What have we got skill-wise? Just blocker, basically. And that means we've got a complete set. You've got heading and aerial. Then we've got man marking, interception, blocker, sliding, acrobatic, captaincy, fight expert. Yeah, you've got the complete set of defensive skills for a centre-back. And weighted pass. So, yeah, pretty good selection of skills. Pretty solid attributes for a destroyer centre-back. This is a pretty solid card to me. I would like the jumping and the physical to be a bit higher. But honestly, outside of that, I don't think you can really complain. I think everywhere else this looks like a strong card. So yes, inconsistent form is a bit of a shame, but when he gets A or B form, and you're normally only going to play a guy when he's an A or B form, let's be honest, so it's not going to matter too much. It's not something that worries me too much. I rarely pick players if they're on C or below. And yeah, you could ask for a bit more jumping or physical contact, but they're not too low. You're just about okay with those two. So yeah, on the whole, one or two areas where you'd like it to be a bit better, but I think most of the attributes are pretty strong. The skill set's very strong. I think for a lot of people, this could be a very strong centre back to pick up. I think certainly if he's still allowed to take part in that Turkish League Challenge, this could be a really, really, really good card to pick up for a 5-star contract. But outside of the Turkish League Challenge, I think it's still pretty solid. I think it's a good, strong centre back card in the whole. Would like one or two things to be slightly stronger, the jumping and the physical, but outside of that, yeah, lots of strengths with this guy, a lot to be said for him. I think it's a good, solid centre back card, that. So now we move on to the last pack. We've not looked at yet for the other 5 stars, and it is role changes. So all these are players who've been playing in a different position, and they're giving these cards the position they've been playing. They've changed their position, which I think is a pretty cool idea. Different play styles in 1 and 2 as well. So yeah, I like the idea of this pack, but I have to say, this card design, ouch. My eyes are burning looking at it. It's absolutely horrible. Ugh. But let's get into it. Let's go straight to the face scan, hopefully. No, he's not got one, has he? No, so he's not got a face scan. So at least I don't have to look at that horrible card design anymore, but he doesn't have a face scan. But he's going to get one soon, isn't he? He plays for a partner club. Only a matter of time. I'm sure with the update that's coming out, this minor update that we're getting in February, when that eventually comes out, I imagine there's a pretty good chance he'll get a face scan. But yeah, like I say, position changes and playstyle changes. So Lewis-Skelly, normally an orchestrator, they've changed into a left back. They made him fully proficient left back. They made him semi-proficient left mid as well. And you can position train these cards, so you could make him a left mid if you want. And he's a fullback finisher instead of an orchestrator. So skill-wise, what we got? Chop turn through passing, yay. So we got one good skill, but that's it. So we desperately need some skills on this guy, however you're going to use him. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub. How good is this Myles Lewis-Skelly? So maxed out, fully boosted. Looks pretty tidy, to be honest. So we've had a couple of Player of the Week versions of him recently. Those are the 2 special versions we've had of Lewis-Skelly so far. And to be honest, they're both slightly better than this one. I One of them has a booster as well. So before the booster, they're both slightly better than this one. With the booster, that booster one is even better. So this one isn't as good as those, but it is trainable. And it depends how you want to use them, really. As a left back, pace, I would like a bit more. Outside of that, got everything he needs, really. He is a fullback finisher. So as I was saying with the Thai fella earlier on, a fullback finisher will get forward a lot, but he'll also drift inside. He's not going to just get up and down the left flank or whatever flank he's playing on. He's going to drift into the midfield and take up attacking positions in central areas as well. It's not everyone's cup of tea. You might not like that, but it's something to keep in mind. Through passing is a nice skill to have for that, albeit it's the only skill he's got. I thought he had chopped on as well. I guess eFootball was playing up again. Great. But yeah, we've got through passing, so that's good for a fullback finisher. But what would be even better is if we had one-touch pass, interception, man-marking blocker. I'd probably put those skills on him first. Maybe he's outside curler. There's a bunch of skills you could give him, but he needs skills desperately. But in terms of the attributes, at least, technically, offensively, pretty good for a fullback. Defensively, he's fine for a fullback down the right-hand side. It's just the pace where he needs a bit more, really. So it's a pretty good left back. Could you boost his pace? I mean, they've put 14 on lower body, so you can't really. I mean, those last two are 4 points each. Yikes! It's going to cost you another 4 for the next two, and then five per increase. So you can't really make him much quicker. Certainly in terms of speed, you could maybe sneak some points off elsewhere to make him, to give him a bit more acceleration. But where are you going to take the points away? I mean, I'm not sure he'd really want to. So I think as a left back, I'd probably leave him around about like that. To be honest, I think he's just about okay. You just have to accept the fact he's not as quick as we probably want a fullback to be, but he's not slow though. You can get away with it. I think the main thing, if you're going to use him as a left back like this, I would leave the attributes pretty much as they are, and I would give him a bunch of skills. That is crucial. So skills the big issue with this, with Lewis-Skelly here as a left back. Certainly, I think it'll be similar as a midfielder. But let's just see what he's like as a midfielder. So he is normally a midfielder. If you look at his GP card, on his GP card, if you try to match this card with his GP card in any position, this card is better. Obviously, he's had a decent boost. As a left back, this one's mainly been boosted with the speed and the kicking power, the physical contact. You train his GP card as a defensive midfielder. This one's mainly been boosted down the left and right columns. And if you train his GP card as a centre midfielder, this one's mainly been boosted with the defensives and the physical. So he's been boosted in different ways depending on the position. But yeah, let's just have a look at how good this card is in other positions. So left back, as we say, as we've just seen there, slight issue with the pace, but apart from that, pretty good. Defensive midfielder, how are we looking? We're looking interesting. What would I do here? I don't know if I'd change a great deal. I think I would nick a couple off defending just to get his physical contact up to 80. I think he's fairly solid as a defensive mid. I think he's a player who probably isn't outstanding enough defensively to make him a standalone defensive mid, but as a kind of all-rounder, playing in some kind of double pivot, if there's at least one other midfielder there doing some defending, he's got pretty decent defensive attributes. On the left, he's not brilliant on the ball, but the passing's decent. He's got through passing. On the right here, we've got that physical contact up to 80. Bounce is decent. Stamina's a slight issue, but it's not terrible. But he may well look to sub him off second half at some point. But yeah, as a defensive mid, solid. Could do a job there. But again, you need some skills in this guy. One touch pass, and then defensively, again, probably the same skills as a fullback: interception, man marking, blocker. I think those with one touch pass, that's 4, and then you got one more slot. Maybe he's outside curler, up to you, but he does need a bunch of skills. And then as a centre midfielder, let's see what we do as a centre midfielder. Let's see what the auto allocation tells us. Okay, so passing's nice. He's better on the ball. Would I change much here? I don't think there's any point having that one on shooting. You can take a couple of passing. Still at 90 for low pass. It's all okay, I think. We've got some points spare. Let's get some aerial strength on him. 3 points left. See that 86 on stamina. Let's push that up by 2 because you only need to increase it by 1. He's at that mark. Nice, and the speed hits 80. Yeah, as a centre midfielder, I think I'd do that. So he got better stamina now. He's still got a bit of physical strength there. Not as strong as a defensive mid, but I don't think it's as important. The pace is decent enough for a centre mid. Defensively, he's okay. He's around about okay for a centre mid, but he's better on the ball now. That tight possession is nice at 90. You've got low pass at 90. We've got through passing, remember. Again, you will need more skills, I think, on a centre mid. The defensive skills aren't as important, but I'd still put interception on him. One touch pass, of course, as well. And it's up to you which other ones you put on him. There's a lot of skills you could put on him. It's quite subjective, but yeah, you could make him a pretty tidy centre mid. So I don't think this guy's outstanding in any position. I'd like him to be a bit quicker as a left back and as a defensive mid or centre mid. In one or two areas, I'd like him to be a bit better attacking, whereas it's a bit low as a centre mid. But he's got a lot of qualities. I think it's just a card where maybe he's not outstanding in any position, but he certainly could do a job in any of them. And before I forget, you can make him a left mid, can't you? So let's just have a look. Can you make him a left winger? Can we turn this guy into a cross spammer? Let's just see. He's a bit lacking in pace, isn't he? Got a lofted up to 88. Give him some more dexterity. Maybe. Not the quickest for a winger. But he's got fairly good balance, good stamina. We've made him all right on the ball. And that pass and get the low to 91, lofted 88. If you gave him pinpoint crossing, yeah, you could make him a decent left winger. Pinpoint crossing would be crucial, but with pinpoint crossing, even if he's not the quickest, he could be a useful option left mid. So you've got a bunch of positions there. I'll leave him on auto allocation as a left back. So like I say, not outstanding in any position, but it could be a pretty tidy one. Left back or in the middle as a defensive mid or centre mid or as a left wing if you gave him crossing. But skills are the issue. Desperately needs skills in any position. He really needs a bunch of skills putting on him. But if you're an Arsenal fan especially, or for whatever reason, if you like the look of this guy, if you're willing to put the skills on him, you plan to use him regularly, then with the right skills, he could be a tidy option in a bunch of positions. So it's a useful card, this one. And from Arsenal to Tottenham, we have got Archie Gray. He does not have a face scan yet. He's very young. I imagine he'll get a face scan at some point. So Archie Gray has been playing in defensive Spurs. He's now a centre-back with the build-up playing style. Normally a box-to-box centre-mid. They've added centre-back as a position. What we've got skill-wise. Again, not a lot. So we had, I think it was Chopter with through passing on Lewis-Skelly. Now we've got Marseille with through passing. Great. So as a centre-back, we've got a major issue skill-wise. Only standard form. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub. Let's have a look at how good this Archie Gray card is. So we've got a bunch of positions. We'll start with centre-back. And all fully maxed out and boosted. He's got some strengths, to be fair to him. So defensively looking nice. Elsewhere, down the left looks very nice for a centre-back. And then down the right, pretty nice apart from these two important attributes. He's lacking physical strength. He's lacking aerial ability. He's got decent height on him, about 6'1" or so. But he's not got a great jump. He will need aerial superiority. That jumping height, as you can see there, is not great. So yeah, skill-wise, if you're going to play this guy as a centre-back, interception, man marking, blocker, aerial superiority, and then one more slot there, I'll take your pick out of the other defensive skills, but he desperately needs skills as a centre-back. In terms of his ability, though, if you gave him the right skills, there are strengths there. The question for me is he strong enough physically and aerially, and where can you spare the points? I mean, you wouldn't want to really take any from the defensive attributes there, because you're going to go below 90 for defensive awareness, just from decreasing it by 1. If you decrease it by 2, then tackling dips a bit as well. But is it worth it? Do you really need the points on area? I would say yes, to be honest. I would take that slight hit on the defensives. How high can we get the aerial? Can we get 3 more points? Not really. I mean, you could. 1, 2, 3. He's still got decent pace for a centre-back. To be honest, just one more, get you 88 physical contact. Is it worth it? I'll leave it up to you. I personally wouldn't. I mean, he's still quick enough. In fact, you need all those points, don't you? Because it's +4 now, you've gone past 12. It's up to you to decide if you think that's worth it. For me personally, he's not slow. You've taken all the points away from his speed and acceleration, but I think he's still good enough all the way down here with his pace, his mobility. But you've got that physical contact up to 88, which is really important. So I personally think that's worthwhile. It's a bit of a shame that you've lost points with the pace and from the defending, but like I say, I think that's worth it. Even then, you still desperately need those defensive skills. So if you built him like that, if you gave him the right defensive skills, I do think he's usable as a centre-back, but he's not amazing. You're going to find that you're scrimping some points from somewhere in order to kind of beef him up elsewhere. So lots to be said for him. Certainly down the left, he's very nice on the ball. He's got through passing already. So for a centre-back, very nice in some areas. He is strong defensively, but you might just have to kind of weaken him a little bit in some areas like defending to make him strong enough elsewhere. So not sure he's quite going to be making the grades of centre-back for many people, but you could get away with it if you give him the skills. What about the other positions? We've got right back. So hang on. Auto allocation. We'll start with auto allocation. Right back. Interesting. So the one thing that's a concern for me is acceleration is not great. They've only put 4 points on acceleration though. We could nick 4 from aerial. That's a couple more. I guess into 80 acceleration. You can maybe just do that. The speed's fine at 90. Stamina is outstanding at 96. Pretty good balance for fullback. Physical contact's alright, even after taking some points away. Defensives are strong. down the left there, he's fine on the ball for fullback. That's not a problem at all. Again, you would need to give him the skills. I think as a fullback, depends how you're going to use him. As an attacking fullback, I would give him pinpoint crossing and then intersection, marking, blocker probably. If you're going to put a defensive instruction on him, he won't have an active playing style as a right back, keep in mind. If you're going to put the defensive instruction on him and use him as a defensive fullback, you don't need to worry about crossing. I'll just give him a bunch of defending skills, interception, man marking and so on. Either way, could be pretty useful, to be honest. If you're going to do the defensive fullback thing, you can take all the points away from over here and put them, I don't know, put one arrow, get his game up to 80 physical. Yeah, defensive fullback could be pretty tidy actually. That might be the best way to use him. I think for some people that might be the most appealing way to use this guy as a defensive fullback, because yeah, the acceleration is a bit low, but you got the speed, certainly got the stamina, physically the balance. Defensive, definitely. You just need to give him the skills. You give him the skills as a defensive right back. Could be pretty usable. Could be pretty decent. Other positions. So we've had one previous version of Archie Gray. I only mention him now because that previous one, the only mutual positions you got with this one are defensive mid and centre mid. You can't train that previous one as a defender, but you can make him a defensive mid or centre mid. So, but this one is better. Either a defensive mid or centre mid. So we'll start with auto allocation, defensive mid or a centre mid as well. It is better than that previous one. That's in one of those new transfer packs. And as a defensive mid, yeah, I mean, he's had a nice boost from his GP card. So it's mainly the defending and the physicals where he's better than his GP card. But as a defensive mid, again, you could have an option here. It's going to come down to the skills in any position. Similar with Lewis-Skelly, you just don't have the skills on this guy when you first get him. But he does start with through passing at least. But defending skills are very important. Defensive midfielder. For me personally, it might just come down to that left column. A lot of people on the defensive midfielder would be happy with these attributes being like that. To be honest, a lot of people would be happy with them being like that and just taking all those points away. If you think those attributes are okay as they are, good for you. You could have a pretty nice defensive midfielder on your hands. I would beef up the aerial, get his physical contact up to 80. You can nick a couple from no body, then get his defending all 90 plus. If you're like an out-and-out defensive midfielder, you just wanted to get and sit in front of your defence and protect it, you don't mind these attributes technically being a bit low, that could be a pretty tidy defensive mid for you, to be honest. But again, you'd need the skills. But if you're given the relevant defending skills, defensive midfielder could be an option. If you wanted to be more of an all-rounder, I think I'll just skip to centre midfield and auto allocation because he's going to be quite strong defensively. As a more of an all-rounder in the middle of the park, either in a double pivot or as a centre midfielder. Again, keep in mind, doesn't have an active playing style, defensive mid or centre mid. But certainly in terms of the attributes, he could do a job there. So we'll just nick one of passing. Where do we put those few points that we've freed up there? I'll go one on dexterity for sure because his attacking awareness is a bit low. Where's that last one going? I'll probably just stick on aerial. I don't think I'll do much more. He could nick a couple of lower body. Keep his stamina at 90 if you wanted to free up some points for more dexterity. I think that's worth it. You do need a bit of attacking awareness. You want him to be reacting to the ball. Got through passing, but again, you do need skills. Like I was saying with Lewis-Skelly, one-touch pass, interception, the first two I'll give him. It's up to you which other ones you'd want to give him as a centre midfielder. But as a centre midfielder, yeah, it could be a decent one. Okay on the ball, good passing. He's got through passing, just needs one-touch pass. Defensively, he can certainly do a bit of defensive work as a centre mid. He's got a bit of physical strength about him, decent balance, good stamina, reasonable pace for a centre mid. Could be an option if you give him the relevant skills again. And then lastly, you've got attacking midfield. Can you make him an attacking midfielder? Auto allocation is telling us maybe-ish, just about. I don't know. I don't think he's particularly brilliant. Yeah, the passing is decent. On the ball is decent. That's about it, really. Do you want an attacking midfielder who's decent in a couple of areas and not great elsewhere? No, not for me. I don't think that's the way you're going to get the best use out of this guy. So, yeah, you could maybe at a stretch make him an attacking mid. Certainly a centre mid could be an option, but I think as a defensive mid, a centre back or a right back, if you're willing to give him the skills, you definitely need to put a bunch of skills in. But if you do put the right skills on this guy, defensively, either defensive mid, centre back or right back, not amazing. He's not an elite level card by any means, but he could be useful. Similar to Lewis-Skelly, really. You've got a bunch of positions you can use this guy in where he could be a pretty useful card for you. He just really needs the skills. So give him the skills, yeah, could be a useful card for a lot of people. And now we have creative playmaker Adrien Rabiot, who is now an SS. So they've added SS. They've also added attacking midfield. They made him semi-proficient as a centre forward as well. Quite a change on this guy. So normally a box-to-box centre mid. We've now got a very attacking option with Rabiot. Got his face going. He's had that years. Unwavering form. What we've got skill-wise, the usual. So 1-touch pass, 3 pass, and they've not changed the skills in any of these players. So we've got his usual 1-touch pass and 3 pass, and got interception. He's got most of the important ones that you need on a centre mid, but obviously we're now looking at him potentially as an attacking player. So let's just jump over to eFootball Hub, and we'll see how good this Rabiot card is. So let's start off as a centre mid, which is what he normally is. So he's pretty tidy as a centre mid. If you look at the previous versions of Rabiot, we've had a few Player of the Week versions of him. And this one looks a bit better, to be honest. He looks better than the best trainables. As far as I can see, this might actually be the best Rabiot that we've had, even in his normal position, which is interesting. So nice passing, tidy on the ball. The attacking ways is okay. Defensively, I'd like to be a bit higher there. I'd like a bit more in one or both of the physical contact and balance, probably both, to be fair. But good kicking power, good stamina, decent speed, very decent speed for a centre mid. Yeah, for me, I don't see a better version of Rabiot. This is up there with the best, maybe the best as a centre midfielder. So if you want to use him in his normal way, this is a nice looking card. Let me just see. We can nick that point away from shooting there. How can we make him as a centre mid? Because I want to get that defending a bit better. Straight away, we can get the attacking to 80. Lovely. Would that change much else? You could nick a couple off there. Leave his stamina at 90. One more dexterity. Couple on his air will get his physical over 80 and his heading to the 80 mark. Maybe something like that. We've not performed major surgery on him there, but getting his tackling up to 80, his physical over 80, I think is worth it. And he's a guy at 6'2", with the heading skill and a bit of a jump on him in physical contact. He can win a few headers for you as well. So yeah, as a centre midfielder, like I say, it looks like it might actually be the best version of Rabiot, certainly the best that I can see. Better than the version that I've got. And pretty tidy. I think as an all-rounder centre midfielder, decent card. That looks really tidy. Could you use him as a defensive midfielder? Could you make him much stronger defensively? Let's just see if we shuffle some points around. If we get rid of all the points off dribbling for now, let's just see, because we're going to make him strong defending, strong with his defensives, haven't we? How high can we get the defending? Oh, if we could go one higher on that, we get the increase of 2 on his tackling. Let's do it. We want to make him a defensive. We've already done an all-round build as a centre mid. 2 points left. Stick him on dexterity, whatever. Defensive mid, maybes. Not outstanding, but certainly very usable. Defensively pretty strong. We've got a bit of physical strength on him. Got stamina, decent pace. Not brilliant on the ball now. Taking all his points away, but it could be worse. Passing still nice. Yeah, as a defensive midfielder, it could be an option for you. There's another way you could use him. So defensive mid or centre mid, yeah, pretty decent looking card this. You'd need a few more skills defensively. I think if you use him as a defensive mid, I would give him blocker, man marking, maybe his aerial superiority. It'd be deep, reasonable in the air if he gave him aerial superiority. So yeah, you got an option as a defensive mid. Maybe need 1 or 2 defensive skills. Centre mid definitely looking very decent. But let's look at these attacking positions. In fact, let's just check left midfield before we do that, because he's semi-professional left midfield. I don't think he's going to be great there. I mean, he's alright, to be fair. The pace is alright. Good kicking power. Tidy on the ball. If you gave him pinpoint crossing, you'd have a reasonable cross on him. I don't think many people would look at Rabiot as a left midfielder, but you got the option there. He could certainly do that job for you. And given the SS as his registered position, you can actually make him a wide forward. Would you make Rabiot a wide forward? Let's try. What's the auto allocation going to tell us? Let's say right wing forward. I don't know. You got a bit of pace on him. He's not much of a dribbler, but you can make him reasonable on the ball. Passings are pretty nice actually for a wide man. Finishing's not great though. Yeah, I'm not sure he's quite going to be the guy for many people as a wide forward. You could position train for it if you want him to. I'm just showing you there that you've got the option, but yeah, I'm not sure that's really going to be the option many people take up. But let's look at him as a number 10. That's the way they've... in fact, wait, we'll get centre forward out of the way first. I don't think that's going to be much cop either, is it? No. So awareness is decent in some areas, but finishing 78, no thank you. I don't think we're looking at much of a centre forward here. Let's look at attacking mid or SS, because that's what he's really been playing as, apparently, for Marseille. I've not been watching him myself. So let's start with SS. That's what they've made him with auto allocation. I don't know. Maybe. Certainly very tidy on the ball. Attacking awareness is pretty good. I'd like that passing to be a bit higher as an SS. Yeah, I don't know. Would I change much here? Yeah. I just don't know where you can spare the points from. I mean, I don't think you need to be that good on the ball. If we go back to 8 there, he's never going to be a great dribbler, quite a tall guy, not brilliant balance. But with the ball control and tight possession, we'll leave them at 90 at least. What else are we going to do here? Get that passing up. Take a bit away from finishing for now. Get a bit more attacking resume. Get his balance up to 80. Couple more on speed, maybe. Yeah, got that kicking power to 88. Nice. Yeah. I'd be tempted to do that as an SS because he is a creative playmaker. He's not going to be bursting in behind the defence a great deal. So if we focus more on the passing, because he's already got one-touch passing through passing skills, we can make his passing decent, still pretty tidy on the ball. Attacking rates up to 84, his balance up to 80. He's got decent kicking power, reasonable pace. Yeah, the finishing's not brilliant, and it was probably worth putting 1-2 shooting skills on him. First-time shot, long-range goal, long-range shooting. But certainly with the passing, his overall ability, he could be a decent option as an SS. I'm not sure that's where most people use him. I think personally, even without an active playing style, as a defensive mid or a centre mid, I think that might be the best way to use this Rabiot, to be honest. But certainly as an SS, you've got an option. He's decent there. He's got some of the skills that he needs. Just needs probably just a few shooting skills, really. But yeah, could be an option there as an SS behind the attack. As an attack midfielder, will we change much? Probably more of an emphasis on his passing abilities as an attack midfielder. So if we took a bit of dexterity away there, leave him at 80 for attacking awareness. What are we going to do there? Passing. Yeah, get that low pass up to 90. Increase the lower body, maybe kicking power. Yeah, as an attacking mid, could be decent. Tidy on the ball. Very nice passing. Again, he's got one touch on through. Attacking awareness at 80. We've gone a bit below 80 now on balance. A bit of a shame, but he's got a bit of physical strength on him. The kicking power got up to 90 there. Decent pace and attacking mid. Yeah, that's an option. So, yeah, all things considered, he does have a bunch of skills, unlike Lewis-Skelly and Gray. Certainly with the passing, he's got the ability. He's got interception as well. I think this is a card where you're going to look at him. I think most people would look at this guy in his normal position. He won't have an active playing style, defensive mid or centre mid, because creative playmaker won't be active there. But I think with the ability he's got, the skills he's got, certainly as a centre mid, could be a very decent option. It looks like as good a version of Rabiot that we've had in the game. But you do have the option of playing with a kind of number 10, where he will be a creative playmaker, attacking mid or SS. And as you can see, the way I've just been playing around with the way he's built, the way the points are allocated, could be decent. I think most people probably have better options in those areas of the pitch, but you've got the option there. So he's not going to be for everyone, this guy, but I think he's reasonable. I think he's got the ability and the skills, and if you add 1 or 2 skills in any of these positions, he could be a very decent option. So sure, not for everyone, but for quite a few people, and certainly for me, could be quite an appealing one. I'm quite tempted by this guy because I've liked the one that I've got as a centre midfielder. I've had 2 versions now. Good all-rounder as centre mid. So yeah, with this one being a slight upgrade, I'm quite tempted. I think he's a pretty good option as a midfielder, and as in a more advanced role, you've certainly got the option there as well. So yeah, not for everyone, but for quite a few people, could be a decent one, this one. And next we have centre-back destroyer version of Endo from Liverpool. So, got a face scan, of course, he's Japanese. Unwavering form, not the tallest, 178 centimetres. That's going to be an issue, especially if you don't give him aerial superiority. So, a bit of a concern straight away, but let's just jump over to eFootball Hub. How good is this version of Endo as a centre-back, firstly? So, obviously he's got some qualities. You see down the middle straight away, he's defensively fantastic. Elsewhere down the left, pretty good for centre-back. Pace is okay. Jumping decent, but he's not the tallest. And the physical contact is a bit on the low side at 80. It's very low, in fact. Physical contact is really, really important on a centre-back, so that's a big concern. We do have quite a good selection of skills to start off with. We could do with aerial superiority, of course, and blocker. I think those 2 skills would sort us out really as a centre-back. But in terms of the way the points are allocated, we've got to try and get his physical strength up. So let's just nick a few from defending. If we'll leave everything 90 plus, we can get the aerial to 11. If we can nick a couple more points, maybe from dexterity, we can afford to do that probably. Get the aerial to 12. I wouldn't go beyond 12. It's not really efficient. But even then, yes, the jumping's in the 90s, heading's at 90, but physical contact still only 84. That is low. Fully boosted 84. So there's a question mark over his aerial ability. Even if you give him aerial superiority, that jumping height 267, nah. That's a big concern. If your opponent's got even reasonably sized strikers they put crosses in, this guy's going to have real problems, and that physical strength's an issue. If you were going to look at all that and say, well, maybe I'll just use him against kind of smaller, nippier strikers, my opponent's got a small, nippy striker, yeah, fair enough, but Owen, Romario, how are you going to cope with the pace? You're going to struggle with that as well. So yes, you've got some real strengths with this guy, and you've got most of the skills you need as a centre-back, but the height is a real issue. The physical strength for me, is an even bigger issue. So, yeah, plenty of strengths there, but I think as a centre-back, this guy really doesn't quite make the grade in all the departments in which he needs to. As a right-back, I have a feeling he's not going to make it really as a right-back. What's it saying as a right-back on auto-allocation? It's saying he's too slow. So everywhere else he's fine, to be fair. But that pace, I'm not sure many people would be okay with that. Sometimes if it's in kind of early mid-80s, there are people who say that's fine, but I think 82 speed, 75 acceleration, that's too slow for any kind of fullback, I think. Your opponent's got a pacey winger, you're going to end up in a lot of trouble. Everywhere else is fine, like I say. Could you free up some points, make it a bit quicker? You can nick a few from defending. You can nick all the aerial points. Get his lower body up to 12. Bit more dexterity. Is it worth it? Is he quick enough? No, not for me. At a stretch, if you're really desperate, you can maybe do a job there. He's certainly got some good defensive skills to play that role, but for me, again, the lack of pace there, that's what kills it for me. I don't think he's quite going to be able to really cut it as a fullback, as a defensive fullback. Put the defensive instruction on him. Obviously, destroyer playing style, not active at right back. Defensive instruction, out and out defensive fullback, maybe. But like I say, it's the pace. There might be some who think the pace is okay, but for me, that's going to kill it for me. You're going to get burned by any wingers who've got any real amount of pace about them. So right back and centre back for me, yes, plenty of strengths, got lots of qualities, but the weaknesses for me, they just put me off him in both those positions. But if you go back into midfield where he normally plays, destroyer will be an active playing style, defensive mid or centre mid. I'm going to start with centre mid because I have a feeling he's not going to really cut it as a centre mid. No, see, that attacking versus 66 is rubbish. You need him to be reacting to the ball, reacting to attacking moves. And he's not great on the ball. His passing is very average, even before you factor in the fact that he's not got one-touch pass or through passing. Yes, defensively very strong for a centre mid, but ultimately, as much as the centre column and the right column are good here, down the left for me as a centre midfielder, he's not quite cutting it. So I think with this guy, with Endo, you're looking at him in his usual position, defensive mid. Yes, he's normally an anchor man, but destroyer playing style still active there. If you don't mind that playing style as a defensive mid, I think that's when you might be in business, where you might get some real value from this guy. I would still say you need to shuffle the points a bit because as a defensive mid, I would like that physical contact to be 80 plus. I would like him to be more comfortable on the ball, but there are a lot of people, I always say, a lot of people on the defensive midfielder don't mind these attributes here being in the 70s. If that's the case, you could nick all those points, to be honest, if you're okay with that, and just beef up his aerial, give him 80 physical contact. If you're happy with that left column being in the 70s, as an out-and-out defensive midfielder, just destroying and breaking up attacks, he could be really, really effective, be really decent. He's got those defensive skills. I'll give him blocker, one-touch pass, through passing, and then you could have a really good out-and-out defensive midfielder on your hands. If you want to be a bit more of an all-rounder, you like your defensive midfielders to be a bit more comfortable on the ball, which I do. I just cannot play a defensive midfielder who's that weak technically. You've got to be able to pass the ball in midfield, in my opinion. So for me personally, I'd nick some off defending, and then nick a few off lower body there. And I'll probably do that. I mean, I'd like to have more on his technicals there. I mean, you can nick a bit more off defending. It's not the end of the world if he dips down to 88 awareness and tackling. Yeah, maybe just do that. I would still say he's a bit lacking technically, but he's certainly more comfortable. So you could do that if you really want to make him a bit more comfortable technically, and if you feel like you can afford to nick a few points from defending and from lower body, which I think you can. You could do that, making him a bit more well-rounded maybe. Again, you would need one-touch pass and through passing. Any kind of midfielder needs those skills, certainly centrally. And then maybe he's blocker. I think blocker as a defensive mid. I mean, definitely blocker actually. So yeah, there's 1 and 2 skills needed as well. But I think as a defensive mid is where you're going to get the most value out of this guy. Like I say, in his new position centre-back, I'm not convinced. Right back, no, even less convinced. I don't think he's got enough all around, certainly going forward as a centre mid, but as a defensive mid could be a good option. There's been a lot of Endos. We've had a lot of versions of Endo in the game. And there was a player of the season one at the end of last season. Apparently Liverpool's player of the season, not sure about that, but he was in the player of the season pack, and that was a really good card, and it was a bit better than this one as a centre-back and a defensive midfielder. There was a Destroyer Player of the Week card. It was pretty similar. Had a boost, to be honest. And when that boost is activated, similar card to this one. Stats kind of shuffled around a little bit, though. And there's an Anchorman Player of the Week card as well. That's not as good as this one, though. And then out of the trainable ones, to be honest, we've had a few trainable versions, mainly from Japan packs, which are a bit better than this card as a centre-back and a defensive midfielder. So yeah, all things considered, I don't think this is really the best version of Endo. They've given him a decent boost from his GP card, but I think in most of his positions he's going to come up a little bit short, if you pardon the pun, especially at centre back. It's just defensive mid where I think he would be decent, but we've had other versions of Endo in the past that are better even there. So I don't think, if you're a fan of Endo, you most likely have a good version of him by now, and there's a good chance that version of him is as good as this one, if not better. But if you don't already have a good version, for sure, you can make him a very useful defensive mid, and if you don't mind the limitations, you could even use him as a centre-back or a right-back. He's got a lot of strength in those positions, especially at centre-back. I think he's best as a defensive mid, though, but like I say, as much as he is a good card as a defensive mid, he needs a few skills. He is a little bit lacking one or two areas, and there's a very good chance he'd have had a better version of him by now. But if you haven't, and if you don't mind the slight weaknesses he's got, and if you're willing to put the right skills on him, maybe as a centre-back, certainly as a defensive mid, it could be a pretty good card for some people. And next we have a left midfield, Raphinha, and he's a whole player as well. So Raphinha is normally a wide forward. He's normally a prolific winger. He's now a whole player. The whole player playing style will be active at left midfield. It will also be active if you use him as an attacking midfield, which they've added to him recently. That's not just for this card. I'm pretty sure his GP card's an attacking mid now as well. But he won't have an active playing style wide forward. Can still play him there, just won't have an active playing style. And yeah, he's a left midfielder now. There have been a few left midfield versions of Raphinha. He's been playing so well this season for Barca. He's been in Player of the Week a bunch of times. There have been 3 Player of the Week cards of Raphinha that are left midfielders. And before we get into that, actually, we'll just finish up looking on here. Then we'll get into eFootball, but then we can compare how good he is. So he's got unwavering form these days. That's great, and he seems to be getting A and B form every week. The usual skills you would expect. End product wise, that's where he's always lacking. He's got pinpoint crossing. That's about it. He's got some nice ones. Heel trick and outside curler. Accurate finishing helps. Bunch of skill moves, but end product wise, a bit lacking. But yeah, let's jump over to eFootball Hub, and then we'll just have a look at how good other versions of him are, how good he compares. So getting all maxed out, boosted up. Pretty tidy. Like I say, though, I was saying about Player of the Week, we've had a few left midfield versions of Raphinha in Player of the Week this season. Looking at the overall ability, they're better than this one. So this one doesn't quite stack up to those, but the stats are shuffled around quite a bit on those cards. There's only one of those recent Player of the Weeks that's got crossing as good as this, 80 plus. The other two aren't so great with the lower lofted pass. So, like I say, the stats are shuffled around. Those 3 Player of the Weeks this season are a bit better overall in terms of their overall ability, but there are certain attributes with this one that are better than various cards amongst those 3. So they're not necessarily better for you. Depends on what you want from the guy. For example, if you want a good crosser, then you might not have one as good at crossing as this one if you've got one of those Player of the Week cards. If you look at the other Player of the Week cards that aren't left midfield, he's had a bunch of right wing forward or left wing forward Player of the Week cards. This one's better than those. You look at it, all things considered, the overall ability of this one is better than those ones. So it's looking pretty good against most Player of the Week versions of Raphinha. In terms of trainables, obviously the Showtime version we had not long ago was an absolute beast of a card. And he's got more positions. It's a whole player left midfielder like this one, but he can play centre mid, he can play SS, and it's just better on the whole. It's a really, really good card, that one. But comparing this Raphinha card to other trainable versions, it stacks up pretty well. It's a very good version. There are different playing styles on previous ones. That he's usually a prolific winger. And one thing that's really worth noting as well is that they've recently beefed up his low pass, and that's been a big weakness of Raphinha in the past. It's obviously not what he's usually been about, because he's usually just a wide forward, and he's still very much a winger now, even though he can play attacking mid. So it's not the most important attribute, but it's still important enough that you need it to be half decent, and it's not even been half decent in the past. He's had cards where the last version of Raphinha I had fully trained up, his low pass is like 68 or something, which is horrendous. But they have beefed it up. So previous versions of Raphinha, trainable versions, the one big difference, probably the biggest for me, his low pass is now decent. It's gone from terrible to decent. They boosted it a lot. So that's worth noting, and all things considered, he does stack up pretty well against the previous trainable version. So this is a nice looking card of Raphinha's this, in terms of overall ability, and of course the fact that he can now play a couple of extra positions. Most previous ones didn't have attacking midfield, and obviously now we've got left midfield as well as that. So he's looking pretty interesting. And the one last card to compare it to, the Tsubasa one, there's obviously a free Tsubasa card that's currently available. Not a massive difference between that one and this one, but this one's obviously got left midfield. And overall it is probably a bit better as well. So this one, if you can spare the nominating contract, and if you like Raphinha, I would say this one is a bit preferable to the Tsubasa one. So yeah, it's a good looking version of Tsubasa, of Raphinha. From his GP guys, has a very nice boost. Biggest boost they've given him really in terms of attributes. Finishing, kicking power, as you see, that's not always as high as that on previous versions of Raphinha. 90 kicking power is great. His tight possession's up a bit as well. So it's a nice boost they're giving him. This is a nice looking card. I think this is one of the better 5-star nominating contract cards that we've had lately. I'm pretty much certain to get this myself. I think he's a very, very neat one. Tempted to train him for right midfield as a right midfielder or a left midfielder with the whole player playing style. I think he could be very neat for me because I use wide midfielders. And yeah, the pace, the kicking power, not as good in the ball as some previous versions, but more end product than he normally has. That's the thing. That low pass, the boost to his finishing, lofted pass as well. He can now pass it. He can certainly cross it because he's got pinpoint crossing these days. Don't think he's always had that, but he's got 80 finishing as well. So this to me, maybe not quite as good in the ball as he often is, Raphinha, but outside of that, looking very nice. It's a nice looking version of him. So it's a question of how are you going to use him. I'll start with the attacking midfield. I'm going to get that one out of the way because I don't think he's great as an attacking mid. So auto allocation attacking mid, it still only gives him low pass 80. Very nice in the ball. You can nick some points off there. You don't need to be that good on the ball as an attacking mid, I guess. I mean, that's subjective, I guess. You can get his low pass up to 84 by sacrificing some dribbling points. Could you get it even higher? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure he'd want to. I think probably attacking mid, I'll do something like that. Absolutely imperative you give him one-touch passing, through passing if you're going to play him in the middle. As an attacking midfielder, one-touch passing, through passing are essential. If you do that, his passing's borderline okay. You could get away with it. I don't think it's quite high enough, but you could get away with it. And certainly with how neat he is on the ball, he could be a fun option as an attacking midfielder with the whole player playing style active. So that is an option for you if you gave him the right skills. And in fact, I'll get centre forward out of the way because he's got centre forward there. If you position trained him, could you make him a decent centre forward? Not too bad, to be honest. Nick those points. Gets finishing up a bit. Have we got 4 points where he could... yeah, hang on. Get the attack west to 88. You could maybe just about sort of make him half decent as a striker if you really wanted to. If you gave him first time shot and certainly long range curler as well. Pace not a problem. I mean, acceleration 99. Yikes. Great balance. For a striker, he's alright on the ball. Decent. Attacking awareness decent enough. 88. Finishing a bit iffy. If you gave him the shooting skills, you could make him a centre forward if you wanted to, but yeah, like I say, attacking mid and centre forward, 2 options for you. You could do it, but I think for most people, you're looking at this guy as a winger, so let's look at him as a winger. We'll start with the position they've given him, left mid. So certainly the pace is great, kicking power is great, he's good on the ball, not as good as he often is, but he's still good enough, I think. Attacking awareness is good for a whole player, he's going to get into good positions. Low and lofted pass for a winger are fine, finishing 8 is good. As a left winger, left-footed, with pinpoint crossing, we'll look at him as a cross spammer first, as an old school winger, getting up and down the left flank with his left foot, putting crosses in. Is 82 high enough for lofted pass? I think it's borderline. For some people, that's fine. I would like it to be a bit higher, so I'm looking around thinking, can we spare some points from elsewhere? I think we can nick a goal from dexterity. Well, we've got one on defending. We'll nick that straight away. Thank you very much. You can afford to lose a couple off dexterity. Leave his attacking awareness at 80. Still over 90 acceleration, even though we lost a bit of balance. 5 points, so I can get 1 extra on passing. Can we free up a point from somewhere? You could say, I guess shooting's not too important on a wide midfielder. That gives us 2 more on passing. I'd probably just do that. If you're going to put him on the left wing and just put crosses in, focus on his crossing ability. Still quick enough, still got the kicking power. But that lofted pass up to 85 now, a pinpoint crossing, he'll have a decent cross on him. So building him something like that as a left midfielder, focusing on putting crosses into the box, could be very decent. One of the best versions of Raphinha if you're going to use him in that way. So that could be pretty decent, I think, as a left midfielder, an old school winger putting crosses in, very nice. But if you want to use him the way he normally is as a right winger, or if you position train him for right midfield, where the whole player playing style is active, because obviously whole player's not active wide forward, but you can still play in there, but either way on the right wing, whether it's as a whole player position trained for right midfield, or as a right wing forward without an active playing style, you're not worrying too much about the passing. You can take that back down. We'll just leave that down. We'll put it at 4 for now. We'll just say we're going to focus mainly on the finishing. If we're just going to say the passing is just not an issue. It's not great now, the low enough to pass there, but it's better than it has been on a lot of previous versions of Raphinha. It's certainly okay, but we can get that finishing up to 80 easily. We'll stick a bit back onto his dexterity. Can we get his finishing even higher? Should we just put it all on finishing? I don't know. Let's leave it at 80, and we'll get his low pass back up to 80 and 1 point spare. Stick on aerial. Yeah. In fact, forget that. Let's just make him better on the ball, like he normally is. Yeah, I think we'll do that. If we get 3 more points, we could actually get into 90 type possession. Can we do that? Tell you what, if you really don't care about passing, you could do that. Boom, there you go. So if you want him the way that Raphinha usually is, or the way he used to be, wide right forward or right midfield, cutting his eye into his left foot. Pace, yep. Kicking power, yep. On the ball, yep. Awareness and finishing, yep. Just the passing is a bit low again like it used to be, but if that's the way you want to use Raphinha, very nice. I would just give him long range curler for a start. That's the first thing I'll give him. Beyond that, maybe first time shot, maybe long range shooting, one touch pass through passing, but certainly long range curler. I think if you just gave him long range curler alone and just that one skill, playing him wide right forward, very, very nice card. So this for me is a good version of Raphinha. Like I say, it's not the best version we've had. There's been a few tasty left midfielders in Player of the Week this season of Raphinha. Overall a bit better, but you can train this one. And he's got better crossing than 2 of those 3 at least. And comparing it to trainable versions, yeah, sure, the Showtime one's the best version we've had of him. I don't think anyone would expect this to match up to that version of him, but outside of that, it matches up pretty well. And whichever way you train him, yeah, like I say, it's one of the better versions of Raphinha. Certainly with the end product he's got now, they give him a nice boost from his GP card. I think for a lot of people, whether you use him on the left or the right, maybe you want to use him as an attacking mid or a striker even. I'm not sure many will, but certainly as a winger, an old school left winger, or as an inverted wing off the right flank, depending how you train him, give him 1 or 2 skills. I think this could be a very good card for a lot of people. And the last of our 5 stars, we have got Moisés Caicedo, the defensive fullback, right back. So Caicedo, normally a box-to-box centre midfielder or defensive midfielder. He's now got right back, and he's a defensive fullback. Very interesting. And he's still got that awful face scan. Come on, Konami, sort him out. So, yeah, right back Caicedo. Standard form only. Skill-wise, we got some good ones. Certainly defensively. He's always lacking in passing skills as a midfielder. He's now a right back, though. It's not quite so important anymore. Depends how you're going to use him. I would still like 1 or 2 passing skills on a fullback, even a defensive one. But man marking, interception, slide, and tackle, fighting spirit. Got a few important defensive ones at least. So let's jump over to eFootball Hub. How good is this version of Caicedo going to be in each of his positions? So we'll start with right back. And he's decent. So pace, it's not bad. I'd like it to be a bit higher, certainly acceleration, but he's not slow. Good kicking power there. Physical contact, that's okay for a fullback. Balance is good. Stamina's outstanding at 97. Defensively, he's strong. High 80s for 3 of these, 85 awareness. Strong defensively, and all these well into the green. Interesting. This is a very interesting looking card. So, like I say, skill-wise, you've got man marking, interception, fighting spirit, slide and tackle. I would probably give him blocker and then a couple of passing skills. And then as a defensive fullback, pretty nice. Pretty nice looking. You can maybe give him aerial superiority as well. He's not the tallest, but jumping is not far from 80. Obviously, his heading's terrible there at 56, but the most important thing is winning headers in the first place. If you gave him aerial superiority, if you were able to just nick a couple of points somewhere and just nudge his aerial up, it's easy enough done. Yeah, I think as a defensive fullback, this guy's interesting. It could be a very nice option for a lot of people if you like using defensive fullbacks. Lots of qualities there. Like I say, I would like a bit more acceleration, certainly. He's not quite as quick as I'd like a fullback to be, but he's not slow. He does have a good selection of skills to start off with. Stick 1 or 2 extra skills on him as a defensive fullback. Pretty nice. Pretty solid. That could be a decent card for a lot of people, that. In terms of his other positions, you could glitch him as a centre-back. A couple of position trainers. I mean, if you're lucky, it'll be a couple. It might cost you 100, but you can potentially make him a centre-back because that's adjacent to his new registered position. Can you make him a sneaky centre-back? Ooh, maybe. Not too dissimilar to Endo, to be honest. So very nice defensively, but he's not the tallest. He might actually be the exact same height as Endo. And physical contact's low, so it's that same situation again, but interesting. So defending's got 15 on it. Those last 3 are 4 points each. So you take 3 off defending. That's 12 points for 3 off. We're still 90 plus in all the defensives. Stick them straight on aerial. That's interesting. So we are still a bit lacking in physical strength, but I mean, he could nick even more points from elsewhere. 85. Would you want to do that? I don't know. I think he's usable. Defensively very strong. Down the left front, really nice for a centre-back. Decent pace for a centre-back. Jumping, like I say, aerial's an issue. Give him aerial superiority. Get his jumping up into the high 80s. He can cope. He can cope in the air, but he's not going to be great. And then physical strength, like I say, it starts off too low. You can get up to 85, which is borderline okay. I would still like it to be higher. So as a sneaky centre-back, maybe. Fill him out with the remaining defensive skills. You could make him a centre-back if you want to. I'm not sure Man would choose to do that, though. I think he's more effective as a defensive right-back. Into midfield, though, his normal positions, I'm guessing he's going to be a decent version of him as a midfielder. So I do like defensive mid-box to box. Yeah, pretty nice. So If you look at the best versions of Caicedo, we've had a few. This is comparable, to be honest. Both the trainable versions and player of the week versions, this one stacks up pretty well. It's a good looking version of Caicedo, this. Yeah, I like the look of this card, to be honest. He's pretty strong. I think it's going to come down to whether you want to give him a few skills, but certainly as a defensive mid, defensively really strong. Passing is good, but I would still say give him one-touch passing through passing. But if you give him one-touch passing through passing, really nice passing for a defensive mid. He's comfortable enough on the ball for a defensive mid, decent enough pace. I think probably just the physical contact is the one slight issue. Balance is just about okay. Stamina's great. So where would you get the points to beef up his physical contact? You can spare a bit of stamina for sure. We'll take 3 off there. Is that going to do it? Oh, nearly. Where are we going to nick some points? You could take a couple of passing. As a defensive mid, I think that's fine. Maybe do that. Yeah, I would do that maybe as a defensive mid. So defensive midfielder there. Defensively really strong. Got the physical contact up to 80. Athletically right down, all the way down the right hand side. He's looking strong. Down the left, all in the green. Decent passing. One touch pass, through passing, blocker, maybe aerial. I think that could be a really strong defensive mid, a very decent option, to be honest. So, yeah, look, right back and defensive mid, 2 positions where he could be very decent. As a centre mid, more of an all-rounder. Take away some of that defensive ability. So the passing doesn't need to be that high. The attacking awareness sucks, though. So let's go straight from passing to dexterity. We'll take a bunch of points of passing. Beef his dexterity up. Get his ball control to 90, why not? 3 points left, stick him on aerial. Bosh. Yeah, could be a pretty decent centre mid. Very nice technically there. Again, you'll need to give him one touch passing through passing. Be careful not to shoot. He's got long range shooting, but yikes, 62 finishing. Yeah, he's not going to be one for scoring a lot of goals. He won't have an active playing style, defensive mid or centre mid. Keep that in mind. If you're going to go with that defensive mid build as an out-and-out defensive mid, I'll put the defensive instruction on him. As a centre mid, though, without an active playing style, what I find, if you play someone centre mid without an active playing style, they're kind of like a box-to-box. They're not quite as aggressive. They don't go quite as far up and down the field, but they'll move around quite a bit. I think this guy could be pretty decent as a centre mid. So, yeah, a few options where you could make this guy could be a pretty decent card. And like I say, whichever position, whether it's his usual positions, DMF or CMF, or if you want to use him in his new position, right back, I think he stacks up pretty well. This is a very good version of Caicedo, this. Sneaky centre back, maybe. I'm not sure many people will bother doing that, though. 2 more positions you've got left, though. Could you make him an attacking mid? I'm guessing the answer is no, but we'll have a look. What we'll see, just on the off chance that he's decent there. Attacking awareness is the main concern. Finishing as well, yeah, it's not going to happen, is it? I mean, he's technically decent enough, but he still can't shoot. Attacking awareness still isn't great, so I'm not sure. And you'd need a bunch of skills on him. One touch passing, through passing, maybe his long range curler, first time shot. Don't think it's really worth it. Right midfield, again, I don't know. What would we change much from here? Probably need speed more than anything. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I mean, you'd need to give him pinpoint crossing as a right footer. Is it worth it? Decent pace, pretty good technically. You could give him pretty good crossing. He won't have much curl on him though. Curl does help with crossing. I don't know. I don't think there's going to be many people in the player base who look at Caicedo and think, hey, I can make him a right winger. Yeah, no one's going to do that. You're looking at this guy as a defensive fullback. So, yeah, like I say, his usual positions, he stacks up really well compared to the previous versions. This is a good version of Caicedo in midfield, albeit without an active playing style. You might prefer that as a DMF because normally a box-to-box, and a box-to-box will get up and down the field a lot. You'd need to put the defensive instruction on him to hold him back with his normal playing style as a defensive mid. So you won't get it forward as much without an active playing style. So you might actually prefer this guy in terms of the play style. And he does have the attributes. So, yeah, defensive mid and centre mid. Good version of Caicedo. Sneaky centre back, maybe. Don't think many will bother doing that. But as a right back, I think he's pretty tidy. I think he's certainly a very viable option as a defensive right back. So if you like that playing style on a fullback, this card for me could be pretty valuable. He just needs 1 or 2 skills. But you give him 1 or 2 skills, depending on how you train him, even with auto allocation, I think as a defensive right back, very solid. So you've got a few positions you could use this guy in. Like a lot of these cards in this pack, he's a useful one. He's versatile. But whether it's in the middle or whether it's his new position, I think for a lot of people it could be a pretty nice looking card, this. So these are my recommendations out of the 5 stars. I think you've got 2 centre-backs who are very usable, both destroyers. Koulibaly is Koulibaly. You do need to beef his jumping up a little bit, I think, but it's easy enough done. And Söyüncü, obviously you can't train him, but he's pretty solid. In 1 or 2 areas, each of the 2 is slightly stronger than the other, but on the whole, I think they're both pretty similar. And if you like a destroyer centre-back, the playing style works for you. I think they're both pretty viable options for a 5-star contract. Caicedo, compared to other versions, is a good version of him as a defensive mid or centre mid like he normally is. But as a right back, he's a new position, defensive fullback playing style. If you like a defensive fullback, maybe needs 1 or 2 skills, but I think he's pretty solid. Rabiot, again, similar to Caicedo, he stacks up pretty well compared to previous versions in his normal positions, defensive mid, centre mid. It's a good solid card, not an amazing one, but he's solid in my experience of him. He's a good one. I like him as a box-to-box and all-rounder, but as an attacking mid or an SS, he can also do a decent job, so I think it could be useful for some people as well. And then you've got 2 wing options here. You've got Raphinha and Mahrez. You'd have to position train Mahrez to play on the left. Raphinha can play as a right wing forward, but you'd have to position train to play right mid, but on either flank, depending on whether you're position training them. With the skills they've got, especially if you give them 1 or 2 extra skills, I think you've got 2 guys on either left wing or right wing. He could be pretty useful for you, and they both stack up pretty well as versions of the respective players. So for me, out of all the 5 stars, these are the ones I think I would look at and say they're probably the best value in my opinion. Now on to Match Pass. So in this Match Pass we have Christian Pulišić from the value, and we have Ousmane Dembélé from the premium Match Pass. But they've made a couple of changes to Match Pass this time. So firstly, they've reduced the price. Only 400 now for value, that's 100 coins less than before. And the premium used to be 1,000, that's now 800. So that is 200 coins less than before. So a bit of a discount on the face of it. And the other thing they've changed, there are no more 3-star nominating contracts being given out. All we've got in the rewards is 4-star and 5-star. That's interesting. We've still got 3-star players in the current selection. Are they going to stop giving us 3-star players, or are they simply going to say that, are they going to still give us 3-star players and just say, well, you have to use a 4-star contract if you want to sign one of them? It remains to be seen, but as far as I can see, in terms of the actual effect of what they've changed, all they've really done is they've acknowledged the fact that 3-star cards are useless, I guess. I can't see any major benefit to that, but we'll see how it pans out. We'll see if they make any more changes in the future. But yeah, like I say, bit of a discount on the prices, but let's just dive a bit deeper into the mathematics. So, value will cost you 400 coins, premium will cost you 800 coins. If it's the first time you purchase value, you'll get 200 coins off. If it's the first time you purchase premium, you'll get 400 coins off, because you get 50% off the first time you purchase each of these. So, coins included. If you complete all of the matches, the total coins you get back, 130 from value, 170 from premium. It's not just the prices that they've reduced. If you compare the numbers from the old Match Pass to the new Match Pass, you're paying 500 or 1,000 on the old ones, 400 or 800 on the new ones. You look at the coins you get back. If you complete all of the matches, you get all the rewards. The total coins you get back, you deduct the total coins you get back from how much you pay for the Match Pass in the first place. You work out how many coins you've ended up actually having paid for the Match Pass. With the old Match Pass, it was 270 or 660. With the new Match Pass, it's 270 or 6... Hang on a minute. Nice try, Konami. Anyway, let's have a look at the 2 players and see how good they are. And we'll start with our value Match Pass player, which is Christian Pulišić. And he is now a whole player attacking midfielder. So, Pulišić normally is a left wing forward and a prolific winger. They've made him a whole player attacking mid now. He can still play left wing and right wing, but that attacking midfield position is now there as a whole player. He's been playing through the middle quite a bit for AC Milan. I was personally hoping they'd make him an SS as well, because I feel like he's been as much an SS as an attacking midfielder at times. But either way, we do have a new position and playing style there. And let's have a look how good he is. We'll just quickly check. Of course, he's got his face scan from about 10 years ago. Come on, Konami. He's playing for a partner club as well. You've got to update that. Standard form only, but he's been playing well for Milan, so he's getting quite a bit of A and B form. Skill-wise, long range curl is a good one. Heel trick, through passing is a good one, especially if he's going to play as an attacking midfielder now. He's a super sub as well. That's always a nice little bonus there. So he's got a decent selection of skills to start off with there. But yeah, let's jump over to eFootball Hub. We'll have a look at how good this Christian Pulišić card actually is. So all maxed out and boosted up, pretty tidy looking. And that's actually a slight understatement, because if you look at other versions of Pulišić that we've had, I make this just about the best version of Pulišić that we've had. Not just as an attacking midfielder, but as a wide forward as well. I mean, if you go with the auto allocation wide forward, it's totally up there. Look, 102. Great on the ball, great attacking awareness. He's got some passing and some finishing, pace, balance. Really nice as a wide forward, as well as being very good as an attacking midfielder. So, yeah, this is a good version of Pulišić. I make it the best version we've had. It's had a pretty nice boost from his GP card. They've boosted quite a lot of attributes by 4, 5, or even 6 points from his GP card. They have actually taken 1 point away from his dribbling and his acceleration from his GP card, which is a bit random. I mean, I don't see the point. If it's just going to be 1 point, why reduce them at all? But yeah, they have given them a nice boost on the whole. Like I say, loads of attributes up by 4, 5, or even 6 points. And as you can see, he comes out pretty nice. As an attack midfielder, we'll start as an attack midfielder here. So you don't need as much on his dribbling. If you take a few away from the dribbling there, you can easily get his passing up to 90. And to be honest, that's probably about all you need to do. You don't need to do a great deal else. I think as an attacking mid, that's all I'd do. Straight away, you've got a really nice option there. The only real weakness is he's a bit physically weak, but he could be weaker, to be fair. He's got great balance, though. Got the pace, got decent kicking power. On the ball, really nice. He's got the passing up to 90 there. Very good attacking awareness for a whole player attacking mid. With that whole player playing style and high attacking awareness, he will be getting into good positions to get on the end of passes in and around the area, which is good. And finishing's at 80 as well. And then skill-wise, he's got long-range curler. I would give him first-time shot, long-range shooting, one-touch pass. And that's probably the three most important ones I give him. Beyond that, maybe outside curler. It's up to you, really, but... yeah, I think if you give him a few skills, and especially as a super sub, this guy's a very decent option as an attack midfielder. In terms of other positions, we'll start as a wide. I mean, we're not going to look at centre mid. He's nowhere near good enough defensively or in terms of his physical strength. But as an attacker mid, or if he position trained with an SS, I'll probably keep him pretty much the same build as this. But out wide, we'll start as a wide forward. We'll go with an inverted winger first off the left wing. So off the left wing, we looked at this briefly already. Fantastic, great on the ball. I mean, you could nick one from on the ball there, and he can get his dexterity up. So his attacking awareness is 90. That's fantastic. You could even get his finishing up, actually. Depends how you want to do it. If you're not too bothered about the passing. No, that'll do it, won't it? Yeah, as an inverted winger, that attacking awareness, fantastic. He won't have an active playing style, but with 90 attacking awareness, he will be making good attacking runs. He's got the pace, acceleration at 94. Good on the ball. He's got through passing, 82 low pass. You might want to give him one touch pass as well, but he's got through passing, that's important. Finishing up to 84 there. He's got a long range curler. He's going to have a nice long range curler on him. Finishing 84, curl 84, kicking power 88. Off that left flank onto his right foot. Very, very nice. And especially if you use him as a super sub, could be really nice. So, yeah, attacking mid was good. Left wing also really good. Would you use him on the right hand side? His lofted pass isn't too bad. So let's have a look. Nick a few points back from dexterity. If you're not too worried about the finishing, if he's going to be a right winger, either as a wide right forward, if you're going to position train him as a right midfielder as well, though, can you make him half decent at crossing? Ish. 83 lofted, 80 curl, 88 kicking power. If you gave him pinpoint crossing, he could be an option on the right hand side as a right footer. Like I say, he's got wide right forward. You could make him a right midfielder as well if you position train him for that. And if you train him similar to this, pace, balance, on the ball, great attacking awareness. He's obviously got the low pass, fantastic for a wide man, and finishing's decent at 80 for a wide man. But 83 lofted pass, if you gave him pinpoint crossing, could have a decent cross as well. So that's an option for you. But on the whole, I think this guy's a very good option. If you use attack midfielders or wide forwards, especially inverted wingers, as a right footer, this guy coming off the left flank, yes, he won't have an active playing style, but with the attacking awareness being very decent, depending how you train him, it could be decent. It could be really nice if you get out to 90 like I did just there. I think as a left winger, he's a really nice option. I think as an attacking midfielder as well, depending how you train him, could be really nice there. I would give him one touch pass, especially as an attacking midfielder. You could look to give him first time shot, long range shooting, but he's got a good selection of skills to start off with. And like I say, I've said a couple of times already, but as a super sub, especially a player this good with the pace, the technical ability, he's got a bit of end product as a super sub, right, left, or through the middle. Very decent option. So like I say, I think as an attacking mid or as a wide left forward, especially maybe even as a right mid, this guy's a very decent player. This is a very nice looking card, this. And as far as I can see, it's definitely the best version of Pulišić we've had in the game as well. So I wouldn't rule out the possibility we get an even better version at some point, because he does play for AC Milan, a partner club, obviously, and he is playing very well for them as well. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if they boost his GP card more, and there's maybe one or two better versions of him to come. But certainly at this point, this to me looks like the best version of Pulišić that we've had. And as a whole player playing through the middle, or as a wide man, especially off the left flank coming onto his right foot, and especially as a super sub, I think it's a really nice card. And for the value match pass, for what it costs, I think for a lot of people it could be pretty decent value. And speaking of pretty decent, we finish up with our premium match pass player, Ousmane Dembélé. He of course has his face scan. He is now a centre forward goal poacher. So he's normally a prolific winger, plays as a wide forward, left or right. Inconsistent form, but he's always getting good form for PSG, so I don't think that's too much of an issue. Skill-wise, good selection, but as a centre-forward, if you're going to play him centre-forward, first-time shot, right off the bat, you really need to give him first-time shot. It's crucial for any centre-forward, and I would strongly recommend long range curler as well. But let's have a look at how good he is. We'll jump over to eFootball Hub, and let's check him out. Fully maxed out, fully boosted. He's very interesting looking. So, like I say, first things first, he might have inconsistent form, but he's getting a lot of A&B form for PSG. He's absolutely on fire at the moment. He's been scoring so many goals since he's been playing as a centre-forward for Luis Enrique. And yeah, goal poacher now. We've had 2 centre-forward versions of Dembélé recently in Player of the Week. They're both deep-lying forwards, though. This is a goal poacher. It depends on what your preference is. If you like a deep-lying forward, then you might prefer one of those 2 Player of the Week cards. They're not quite as good as this in terms of overall ability, but the stats are kind of shuffled around a bit, and like I say, the playing style might make a difference, but I think a lot of people would prefer a goal poacher version of Dembélé, because a goal poacher, whereas a deep line forward will be dropping deep, getting involved in the build-up, goal poacher is going to be bursting forward at every opportunity, looking to get in behind the defence, and you need pace for that, and awareness, and finishing, of course, and Dembélé has all 3 of those. So right off the bat, he's looking great. You could shuffle these points around to make him, I think, even better, though. I would like that speed to hit 90, I would like him to hit 90 for finishing. So attacking awareness, acceleration, balance, all a bit higher than we need them to be. We can certainly scrimp a 2 off dexterity. If we do that, that lets us nudge the finishing up to 90 and the speed up to 90. Boom. Do we need the aerial there? It's nice to have it these days on eFootball, but if you take that away, you can get all his on the ball attributes up to 90 plus. And we got 1 left over. Where we're going to stick that? We'll stick it back on aerial. That, to me, is a really nice looking centre forward. As I mentioned before we looked at eFootball Hub, with the skills, you really, really, really need to give this guy first-time shots. The one thing he needs is first-time shot. Long-range curler would be a big addition as well. If you give this guy first-time shot and long-range curler, he's got a bunch of skill moves like he normally does. He's got soul control. You've got heel trick, which is a nice one to have. You don't need outside curler because he's fully 2-footed. Pinpoint crossing, not really going to come into it as a centre-forward. But he's got through passing, which is a nice bonus. But you chuck in first-time shot and long-range curler on this guy. Great pace, balance, awareness and finishing both at 90. 90 plus, all those on the ball attributes. The passing is not too bad for a centre forward. Great balance. Physical contact could be worse. This is looking really nice as centre forward. So like I say, a couple of centre forward versions in Player of the Week, fairly similar, but different playing style. And I think this one, personally, unless you prefer the deep line forward playing style, this one gets the edge. If you're looking at it as a winger, you can play him as a winger. If we go towards allocation as a left winger, even as a winger, I mean, there's no other version that can match him as a centre forward. As a winger, there are some Player of the Week ones, and maybe 1 or 2 trainables that are around about the same level, but this one's up there. Even if you want to use him as a winger, it's up there. He just doesn't have the playing style because they won't be active when you play him out wide. But yeah, fantastic on the ball. Pace, good balance. Finishing's great as a winger. Attacking awareness is fantastic. He's had a nice boost from his GP card. Again, like with Pulišić, from his GP card, they've actually taken 1 away from his speed and acceleration. They've taken 2 away from dribbling. And they've taken 3 away from low pass. I don't know why they bothered doing that. It doesn't really matter. You could just leave them as they are, maybe just give them 1 less level or something. It just seems weird that they've reduced some of the attributes. But I'm not going to complain on the whole because they've added 10 points to his attacking awareness. They've added 11 points to his finishing. They've added 14 points to his physical contact. They've added 12 points to his heading. And they've added 1 point to his defensive awareness for some reason. But yeah, some of the most important attributes, awareness, finishing, and a bunch of others, have had a really big upgrade from his GP card. So they have actually made this a really good version of Dembélé for his new position. So he matches up to previous versions as a winger, but as a centre forward, this stands out. This is the best centre forward Dembélé we've had. Like I said with Pulišić, I wouldn't rule out the possibility that we get better versions in the future of Dembélé. There'll probably be a Showtime one at some point. Because obviously he's been playing as a centre forward now. That's why they've made the centre forward version. So when they make his GP card a centre forward, they make it, you know, they adjust the attributes to kind of similar to what they have for this card. I imagine there may well be better versions of him in the future as a striker, but I can't imagine him being much better than this because you look at the attributes he's got. If we go back to a centre forward build and just do what I did initially, because I think that is, it's definitely how I would do it. What did I do? Lower body up a bit on the ball. Yeah, boom, I did that. Centre forward, I mean, you look at the better centre forwards. You look at the legend ones who just got one in the game now, Michael Owen. You look at the likes of Romario. Obviously, you got the players like Haaland and Mbappe. Players with pace, awareness, and finishing. yes, in some ways, these other strikers might have an advantage. Haaland obviously physically, and maybe Michael Owen's got a bit more speed and so on. But really, this guy, I think, matches up to most of the better strikers in the game. He's not quite on the level of the real beefy double booster legend ones, maybe, but he's not far off. I think for a match pass player, for what he's going to end up costing you, which is about 600 something coins after you get all the coins back, a lot of people I think are going to be going straight for this guy, and they're going to be really happy with him, because for a goal poacher centre forward, yeah, you can use him as a winger like he normally is. He can be very effective for you, but as a centre forward, the way they're giving him the goal poacher playing style, and what they've done with the attributes, the boosts they've given him, to be able to make him as good as this, running in behind the defence, getting on the ball, and if you do give him the skills he needs, first time shot and long range curler, I mean, what more needs saying, really? And he's super two-footed as well. I mentioned the other strikers that you can get in this game. They're not always that two-footed. Fully two-footed, Dembélé. He can go this way, he can go that way. You give him first-time shot and long-range curler, the pace he's got, the awareness to finishing, he's that good on the ball. This is a really good card. I think this is definitely up there with the best match pass players that I think we've ever been given, to be honest. I think it's a really good card, and like I say, I think a lot of people, even if it's 600 something coins, I think a lot of people will be spending coins to get this guy and be very happy with him. Maybe not everyone, but I think a lot of people, and I'm tempted myself as well. So yeah, centre forward, goal poacher, Mbappe, the qualities this guy's got, give him the skills, first time shot, long range curler, maybe he's one or two others as well, but if you give him one or two skills, could be fantastic for a lot of people. So there's all your nominating contract players, any match pass players. I think the 3 stars are rubbish. The 4 stars, I think you've got an okay selection. Not the most exciting, but I think there's a bunch of 4 stars that could be useful for some people. The 5 stars, I think we've got a pretty decent selection, if I'm completely honest. I think, especially with the role change players, the players who've got a new position, they don't all work depending on the playing style. Certainly the skills, the likes of Lewis-Skelly and Gray just don't have the skills, but I think there are some decent ones in there. I think certainly Raphinha looks like a really fun one. I'm definitely very tempted to pick him up. And then the match pass players, I think both of them are looking very tempted to me. I think for the value one, Pulišić, and then premium Dembélé, both of them I think could potentially represent really good value to a lot of people. So all things considered, yeah, some pros, some cons. I think probably the biggest negative is the fact they've reduced the price of both match passes and tried to make us think we're saving money when really we get less rewards and it's not actually any cheaper. That's a bit of a sneaky one from Konami, and the 3 stars are rubbish, as I've mentioned several times. But apart from that, some reasonable 4 stars. I think amongst the 5 stars and the match pass players, we've got some good options this time around. So yeah, on the whole, don't think we can complain. I think most people will find at least 1 or 2 cards in amongst these that will be well worth picking up. So there you go. Hopefully you found this useful. Hopefully it helps you to make your decisions about who to use your contracts on and whether to get one of the match passes or both the match passes. Let me know what you think of the packs. Let me know which players you've been picking up. And thank you for watching as always. I really appreciate it. And I'll be doing another video hopefully in the next week or so. Certainly the next player of the week on Thursday. Hopefully we'll get an update soon. But yeah, make sure you jump in the Discord if you're not already. And thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a fantastic weekend and I'll see you soon.